Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the, what's today's date? May 21st, 2026 meeting of the North Andover School Committee. I call us to order at, what time is it? 6:32. Please stand and join me in the pledge. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So the first thing on our agenda tonight is actually our public hearing for school choice. Each year we're required to have to participate in this process for school choice. Last week we heard from the superintendent the recommendation about our participation. I should open the hearing first and then we'll do that. Sure. So it's a meeting in a meeting. So I'd entertain a motion from a committee member to have us enter into the public hearing.
We enter public hearing on school choice participation for the 26-27 school year.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. Mr. Moskovich. Mrs. Sams.
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. So we're now officially in public hearing. Difference between public hearing and public meeting. Public hearing is a special version of a meeting. We're only going to talk about the thing that's on the docket, which is school choice. We'll have regular public comment afterwards. We participate in this process every year. We are going to hear the recommendation from the superintendent about our participation.
Thank you. My recommendation would be that we do not participate in school choice. Sometimes I've been asked why, so I'll just share with you that this could affect our enrollment, and we're very careful about watching our enrollment and making sure that we have appropriate number of staffing for our current enrollment. And so I would not recommend to the school committee that we participate in school choice.
Thank you. Us not participating means that we would not be welcoming other students in. However, students in our district would still be welcome to go seek out other districts where they would do participate or welcome students into their district.
Not only wouldn't we welcome them, we wouldn't allow them.
Yes, that's a good point, sir. So now it's time for public comment. So we sit here and see if anyone has anything to share for a few moments, and then we'll go about our business.
No, this is public comment for school choice. Oh, yeah.
We'll have regular public comment in a little bit. Is anyone here to talk about school choice? 6:35, according to my agenda, that's when we're going to have it. So we've covered our bases. Great. So I'll take a motion to close the public hearing, and we will vote on it later in the. Oh no, we're going to vote on it right now. No, I have it later on the agenda, I think.
Mr. Chair, if we have a question amongst ourselves, is now an appropriate time.
Appropriate time.
So I just have a question to my fellow committee members. I didn't hear anything from the public or get any emails or questions concerning this. Did anybody else?
I did not.
No.
Okay, so there was no public comment.
Heard nothing.
Okay, thank you, that's it.
All the people that are disappointed that they can't send their children here have not told us about their disappointment.
I have heard from one person that was disappointed.
From a different town?
From a different town.
Oh.
And I will say that we have probably received about less than a handful of inquiries if we are a school choice district, because they would like to choice into our district if we were.
We're going to vote on it officially later on in the meeting. So I'll take a motion to close public hearing.
I move to adjourn the public hearing.
Thank you.
Seconded?
Thank you. Mr. Moskovich?
Yes.
Mrs. Sams?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. We are now out of public hearing and back into regular school committee meeting. All righty. Check things off as we go. Thank you for that, everybody. Moving on to our consent agenda, we have the minutes of April 30th. Michelle reached out to everybody, sending out the minutes for your in advance for you to review. There was a technical snafu that day. We did not get, for some reason, we didn't get a recording of the first portion of the meeting. It did pick up partway through. Michelle was watching and captured the essence of the meeting the best she could for our minutes, and they are reflected. We reached out to Ms. Hurst, and she sent in the comments that she made about the music program. I think the one thing of substance that we might have missed was all the wonderful updates we got from our student reps, but everything else should be accurate. And we have systems in place to try and not miss a recording, and the systems didn't work that time. So they have fixed that, and we heard the next day they were very apologetic for what happened. So I'll give everyone and Mr. Brown is not here. He's off in Seattle celebrating his son's wedding. So give everyone a moment for the minutes, and then I'll entertain a motion. Alrighty.
I move that we accept the April 30th, 2026 school committee meeting minutes.
Thank you.
Seconded?
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Moskovich?
Yes.
Mrs. Sams?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Thank you. We have some special appointments, routine business we do each year. Madam Superintendent?
Yes, I'd like to ask that you appoint our special school counsel. We have two. We have Stoneham Chandler Law, which we largely use for labor questions. And then we have Nuttall McAvoy Joyce PC, who we use for special education, as well as some of our disciplinary issues and for our handbook and policies.
So just of note, Tom Nuttall has retired, so it's now McAvoy, Joyce, and Kowalski.
Ooh, thank you.
So let's change that there when we make the appropriate motion. Kowalski?
Yep.
Thank you. McAvoy, Joyce, and Kowalski.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry, Superintendent, the first council is for,
That is our labor council. So if we have they may help with negotiations. Sometimes we reach out to them. But we sometimes reach out to them if there is a disciplinary issue that both councils will use. If there is a personnel issue that we need to, we typically will work with Stoneham Chandler.
I guess the reason I asked is that, at least as I've only been actively involved once, most of that council we get from the town council for labor negotiations.
We have a shared position of town council that we do use labor for negotiations with the town council. But sometimes with some more complicated contracts, we may move towards Stoneham Chandler.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? We've used these, I have a question, sorry. We've used these folks in past, correct?
They have been our council for as long as I've been here.
And we keep room in the budget for,
We
if we
have,
need them.
we have budgeted funds for them based on the amount of time that we use them, and knowing that we have we'll be negotiating soon with our teacher unit, we have some additional funds put aside.
And we have been, I know in the past we had used them a lot for some things, and we've done a better job of only turning to these folks when really necessary.
Yes. We also put some practices in place about who can call Bees Legal, because that, obviously costs money. And so,
15 minutes is very
typically somebody from central office may start the conversation before we pass them off to a building administrator if necessary. But folks like Michelle O'Leary, who's our Title IX coordinator, she does have direct access to legal counsel.
Any other questions, queries? Okay. I will take these individually, or you want to do them together?
Together's
fine.
Together? I would
I
entertain a
move
motion.
we approve the two recommended councils, the superintendent's recommendation.
Thank you.
Seconded?
Thank you. Any further discussion? Great. Mr. Moskovich?
Yes.
Mrs. Sams?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. It goes 4-0. I'm sad. For the last time, our wonderful senior student reps, Miss Allie Robertson, Mr. Levine Ismail, did I say it correctly? Yes. And hands here too. I got out of order.
It's okay. We can do it either way.
Let's do the reps first.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll start with some of our successful events. Starting with May 15th, there was the Jazz Night concert. The high school and the middle school, 7 p.m. at the North Andover High School auditorium. And May 18th, there was the spring concert, and North Andover High School auditions.
Auditorium.
Auditorium. Sorry, I just read that wrong. May 18th was the art show at the North Andover High School, where art is lined up through the art wing. I was able to look at some of the pieces, and they are gorgeous and refreshing to see. May 19th to 20 was the MCAS math sections. And next Monday we have Memorial Day, so there's not going to be school. There was also the Parent Advisory Council, which was a success, with a spring teacher appreciation event hosted by the NAS PAC on Wednesday, May 13th.
All right, and then some responses from some club advisors. I feel like it would probably be the best way to call them. So, Google form responses from 2 club advisors. We got one message from Miss McGowan, who is the advisor for The Wall. She says, our school newspaper, The Wall, has made exciting updates to its digital site. Our club would like to highlight the work of club members and students from journalism classes who have submitted articles, as well as seniors who have contributed their advice to continuing North Andover High School students under senior spotlights. Please check out the site, which can be found on the North Andover High School's homepage, second banner from the top. All students are welcome to contribute further. We'd love to hear from all who are interested. And then a message from German Club. German Club had an exciting meeting this week. Students participated in elections for the new president and vice president of both the club and the German Honor Society. Candidates delivered thoughtful speeches, sharing their visions and creative ideas for the club's future. And every student had the chance to cast their vote. The energy in the room was fantastic. Everyone was genuinely engaged and enthusiastic throughout the process. The newly elected officers assumed their roles this week. Their first initiative is the organization of an end-of-year picnic open to all German language students and a final celebration for our dedicated seniors who will be graduating soon.
All right, and senior finals will take place next week on May 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th. All other finals will take place June 16th, 17th, 18th, and 22nd. Please check out the emails sent out by Principal Holman and Mr. Young for the schedules. Students Against Destructive Decisions will have their mock car crash after Period 3 final on May 26th, which seniors must attend. Senior sign-out, where we get our robes, yearbooks, etc., is after the Period 1 final on the 29th. All seniors must attend. Senior Week is the week thereafter. Check your email and Google Classroom for the schedule. Senior Prom is June 3rd at Castleton and Windham, New Hampshire. Tickets were due yesterday for GoFan, but you can still purchase via check or cash to Miss Raz by tomorrow, Friday, May 22nd. Senior chords have started to come in. Graduation is June 5th. And students, please fill out the Student Council's Teacher Superlative form. Submissions are due tomorrow, May 22nd.
Thank you so much.
I just have a last thing to add. I know last time we talked a little bit about next year's student representatives. So a sophomore girl, Aina Raya, will be coming in next year, and then potentially another student, but I just don't want to say their name yet because I need to get confirmation first. But hopefully I can announce that next meeting as well.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you. And well, what was her name? Aina?
Yes, Aina.
Aina. A-N-A?
E-I-N-N-A.
Beautiful. Raya.
Yes, R-A-Y-A.
Great. We look forward to meeting her. Is she going to come next time?
I'll ask her, yeah.
It would be wonderful if she could come next time. And
Okay.
if the other person joins us as well.
Yes.
We'd love that. They're more
Okay.
than welcome to be here.
Thank you.
I have a query for the German club part. You were there probably, right? Did they have to give their speeches in German?
No. It was English. There was
That makes me sad a little bit.
I know. I was like, wow. Could've done it.
Other questions for our
Yes, for our seniors, what piece of advice would you offer the middle schoolers entering high school?
I would say utilize everything that there is because you don't fully know everything at the high school until you go looking for it. I didn't know about Focus until 2 years ago, and it's my favorite place in the school. So reach out, ask as many questions as you can because there's so much to offer.
And then for my piece of advice, going off what Ali said, definitely look into all the resources and everything that the school has to offer. Do be very inclined to explore things and lots of different clubs, but also don't be afraid to cut things off of your schedule. I see
So
so
you're gonna
many.
say to cut class.
No. I see so many seniors with very full schedules who might be overburdened or stressed because they're doing a sport and then they have to do some volunteering that they committed to. And I feel like it's great that they're doing all of this, but it's always, always, always important for you to step back after however so many steps you've taken, breathe, and think about, should I continue to commit to this, or will my time better be spent elsewhere, potentially in recuperation? So that would be my piece of advice.
I'm going to take that advice, just
Yeah.
in general.
Louine, how many APs did you take this year?
This year, it was 5.
Yeah. So you're taking a step back now?
Well, he cut like 1 or 2 out.
Could have done more.
Sorry.
So I have more of a general question. Do you plan on attending SOS on graduation night? Absolutely. So it was a little bit of a leading question. This is a call out to parents. So truly, the number of parent volunteers is so low, there is a chance it will have to be canceled. We need parents, this is any of you watching, to sign up to volunteer to support and celebrate the class of 2026. Now is the time. The volunteer coordinators for SOS need us to sign up. So please, parents, I know several of us have done it for multiple years. It is very well organized. Seeing the students, the kids come in and how happy they are and how much fun they're having, it's truly amazing. It is very well run. It's easy to give parts of your time beforehand, during, or after for cleanup. So parents, please sign up to volunteer.
So I have a question. I wound up getting into a discussion about encouraging people to vote. And so my question is, as seniors come to graduate, how many of them are already enrolled to vote, would you guess? Is it common? Is it rare?
I'm not sure.
I mean, most people I know are excited about the possibility of voting. I went and I voted when I could. That was cool.
Sorry.
I went and I voted when I could. Like,
She said she thinks that most of
Yeah.
students are excited about it. I do
Yeah.
think it's something that our teachers encourage when it's the time. We sent out a letter to all of our students this year who were of voting age, telling them, reminding them that they have, civic duty to vote. We have seen some of them at town meeting. So,
I guess the question, I then said, well, gosh, maybe we could give out forms with diplomas, but then someone said, well, maybe you don't even need to. Do we? Yeah, I didn't think you would be excited about it.
yeah, I think that, you sort of enter into the giving out different kinds of forms. I think we are very civic-minded in this town. I think that we encourage our students. As I said, we sent a letter to all students who were of voting age, reminding them of their responsibility and their right to vote and be part of our community. And I do think that we have many educators at the high school that are actively encouraging students to use their voice. So I think it's just something we'll continue to do. I'm not sure that we would put a voting ballot in a graduation diploma or the opportunity to, but I certainly would, be happy to champion the cause for having folks vote and be part of the process.
Thank you. Two-part question. One, what is the most important thing you learned in high school? And 2, what are you looking forward to the most as you leave North Andover Public Schools?
I went first last time. It's your turn.
Oh boy. I gotta think about that.
What's the first question? Sorry.
What's the thing that you learned in high school that you're holding on to the most? Like, what stands out as the most important thing you've learned? It doesn't have to be academic.
It's a hard
Do you want me to go first?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would have been able to answer that as a high school senior.
I have to take advantage of this last opportunity.
I think I learned that you can always change and you can always turn yourself around for the better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm very different from where I was freshman year. You know that. And I think it's truly you can 180 yourself if you want to, and you can always do what's better for you, even if it seems scary.
And what excites you about your next chapter?
I'm excited for the opportunity to meet so many new people and just exist in a new place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's gonna be so cool. Wow, people. networking.
Nice. One important thing I learned, I don't know if it's like the
fair.
biggest thing, but it's to not underestimate things, and that includes yourself. So I feel like what I learned sometimes, especially if it came to like choosing a particular class, for example, in choosing that class, you might hear lots of students tell you that it's very easy and that you don't really need to try that hard, especially if you excelled in a certain class before it. Might be a bit of a specific situation to talk about. Yeah. But essentially, don't underestimate the course. Don't underestimate also like the time commitment that you would have, as I was talking about earlier. Don't underestimate yourself. I mean, I feel like so many students might, again, spread themselves thin, but at the same time, just not think about what potential they genuinely have. I mean, they might get told by their parents, but thinking critically about yourself and what your tools are and what you can actually do right now and what you can do in the future, I feel like that's an important thing to understand and to definitely try to think not necessarily big, but in a manner that emphasizes like moving forward, growing, and don't underestimate yourself. You got this. That would be that.
Awesome, thank you.
And then
What's exciting? What are you looking forward to in your next chapter?
I want to make some really good friends. So I feel like I heard a lot of the time that in college I might make some lifelong friends. Like, and not that I didn't make any in high school, but I'm curious how the living situation and how the added autonomy will help facilitate these interactions. And I'm curious to see like where these relationships would end up going, how they'd evolve, and if I'll carry any of them into grad school or whatever profession I choose.
I am going to my 25th college reunion in a few weeks, and I'm still close with some people, but one of the best friends I have had ever is someone I met my first week freshman year. We were still close 30 years later, because that was in 1997.
So as you guys were talking, I realized that because we have one middle school and one high school, the experience that you were talking about, lots of new friends, that didn't actually happen when you came to high school, because it was the same.
people.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. In my case, it was the Chicago Public High School, and it served, who knows, 10, 12 elementary schools. We didn't have middle schools. So what you will experience as a freshman in college, I experienced as a freshman in high school, and then as a freshman in college, and then as a freshman at MIT. But it is exciting.
Ed, I didn't know they had schools before the Chicago fire.
Well, the thing is,
I'm
Joe,
sorry, Ed.
no, it's quite all right, but I can't go back to the reunion because it was wood. It was on the wrong side of the Chicago River. And so it was, downwind from Mrs. O'Leary's cow. And therefore, there is a stone building nearby.
I'm sorry, that was
But I can't
unkind to me,
actually
but
go
I
see it.
appreciate it. All right. Louine and Allie, thank you so much from us for all the work you've done sharing the experiences of all the kids and representing the students at North Andover Public Schools. You've served them well, and we deeply appreciate your commitment to being here and to making sure that their voices are heard, and we will very much miss you. So this is the last time we're going to see you, except for on the stage at graduation in a couple weeks, but thank you from us to you, and we just have a small little gift for you.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna cry, okay.
We'll also see you at SOS, because it will be volunteers.
Even if Miss Cormier has to run it all herself.
I appreciate all your work. It's been wonderful. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you.
And then from the school department, we want to say thank you as well. It has been a pleasure to get to know both of you and to listen to you. I think you have evolved in just the short time that you have been here, coming to school committee meetings. I think Allie, in lots of ways you found your voice. In some ways, you were the champion of the walkout last year. Nothing that any superintendent wants to have to handle, so that's why I let Miss Ando do it.
We did fine. We did great. It was a
But,
great day.
what you showed your fellow students is that you can do, that civil discourse is okay, and that you can fight for the things that you believe in, and you can do it in a way that is respectful and shows results. And you should feel really proud of yourself And I know that you were in a slightly uncomfortable situation because you served on the school committee and you had to do something that you knew could potentially get you in trouble as well. So that was super impressive to me. We didn't forget about it. I just know that you're going to do great things. I've really enjoyed your time here, and when I see you at the high school, it's just great to see you through the halls and spreading your joy and your cheer wherever you go. And I know you're going to continue to do that. Louine, you impressed me from the minute you sat down in that chair and shared with us your passions, your goals in life. And you are probably one of the most humble people that I have ever met. When I speak about you in a few minutes as being the valedictorian of your class, it is clear that academics is something that you excel at. But it's not something that defines you. I think that you really are defined by yourself as being a good person, a good human. You care about your friends, you care about others. You find wonder and excitement in what the other folks are doing in the high school, and that's just as important to you about their successes, about your own successes. Anybody would be really lucky to be your friend, and I think that you're going to find many friends as you head off to college. So thank you, and congratulations to both of you. Thank you.
You had me crying.
I know. You're so
All right. Madam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I was
sorry.
moving on to.
All right, good.
Madam Superintendent, we have some student recognition.
We do.
Okay.
Sorry. As I just shared, Louine is our valedictorian.
Do we have another student too?
We do, and we're going to ask Natasha Secan, is that right, Natasha? Yep, to just come up and join
Come
us.
on,
Maybe,
so
hon,
come
can you
over,
just
sit
move
next to
over
her.
one?
She can sit next to Mr. Moskovich.
Put the
Come
two.
join us.
Okay, great.
Or, yeah, go sit next to Louise so we can get a nice picture.
Yeah. So we're really pleased to invite both our valedictorian and salutatorian to school committee. There used to be an opportunity through the Merrimack Valley Superintendents Association to recognize our valedictorian and salutatorian. That has changed slightly. We know that you both had an opportunity last week to go and be recognized, but we wanted to recognize you here at school committee. This is a wonderful achievement. I have a feeling that you're both very humble people. We have a certificate for you and a little medal, but I also want to read a little bit about each of you. So Louine, say a last name for me, Louine.
Ismail.
Ismail is our valedictorian this year. As many of us know, he's a lifelong learner with strong leadership skills, a collaborative spirit, and a great sense of humor. He's a dedicated student who values both academic growth and meaningful connections. He builds with his classmates and his and staff. He is truly a pleasure to know. Academically, Louine is naturally curious and eager to challenge himself. He has maintained exceptional grades throughout high school, earning a 4.965 GPA. I'll say that again, a 4.965 GPA. When our school could not accommodate all the courses he hoped to take, he pursued college classes in subjects such as differential equations, economics, and English. And beyond the classroom, he approaches every opportunity with enthusiasm, determination, and genuine willingness to learn from others. Here's a tiny sample of Louine's extracurricular achievements. Massachusetts Association of Student Recognition created finance workshops, infographics, and guidebooks. He led the finance committee for the SRVR bill. Leadership Council, Future Medical Professionals Club, organized guest speakers and planned club activities. Writing Club president, led meetings and curated student work for publication. Vex Robotics Tournament champion, published in Chickens of Our Poetry with pending publication in Disturb the Universe magazine, and tending to his garden. And welcoming Louine into its community is Boston University. They're gaining a student driven by intellectual curiosity, passion, and a wide range of interest. His ambition and pursuits know no limits, and he is certain to accomplish great things in the future. Louine Ismail is a proud representative of North Andover High School who will truly be missed. Congratulations, Louine. Maybe I'll take a little picture of you. I give that to him.
Here, Pam, why don't you get in it?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I hope I'm gonna
Let me.
We're going to switch over so
Thank you. Yes. I'm going to give you this, so maybe not. And then our salutatorian, practice that word over and over, is Natasha Sakan. Natasha is a thoughtful, compassionate, and driven young woman who leads with empathy and integrity in all aspects of her life. Her academic performance has been outstanding, and she was recognized with a National Merit Letter of Accommodation. She has earned the seal of biliteracy in Spanish. She is a member of the Spanish Honor Society and has participated in the Spanish exchange program. Beyond the classroom, Natasha served as the captain of the varsity swim team, founded the Feminist Book Club, You Go Natasha, is a student ambassador, and she also served as a virtual research volunteer contributing to women's health research. Her natural positivity, collaborative spirit, and commitment to learning from others make Natasha an exceptional leader and a role model within our school community. Congratulations.
Come on over. Stand up.
You did a good job, though.
Hold that open so we see it, like, anticipation. Scooch over so Miss Lay's up there.
Thank you so much.
You want one of us together?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
There you go.
Good job.
That's why he's the valedictorian.
See? Yeah, see? See?
The committee has anything they want to say?
Other committee members have any words?
I don't think I can top what has been said. We all know how exceptional these students are, and we're proud to send this type of education out into the world from North Andover Public Schools, and you just have been amazing representatives, and yeah, thank you.
Can't wait to see what happens next, right? The next chapter. So would love if you, at some point you could come back and share that with us.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. Is it'd be really nice to come in after a year or so and, tell us what happened after.
Natasha, where are you off to? What's your next step? Where's your plan?
I'm attending Dartmouth College next year, so.
Wow. Awesome.
Congratulations.
That's,
Thank you.
That's amazing. Really good diner down in Hanover called Lou's. Good pie.
Oh, cool.
Just listen to the description. What a couple of just amazing people that going off into the world, and think that you all came from our little town. Just incredible that this is the type of people that we're able to produce. I know there's lots of things, but the education that we're getting here, students capable of doing these things, makes me really happy and hopeful for the rest of our students. And congratulations to you for being so phenomenal and driven and focused and doing all the hard work to get here, because it just doesn't happen. Being talented and smart is one thing, but then having the wherewithal and the drive to make sure that you're always focused is hard. So good job with that. And congratulations, and important that we say thank you to the parents, because you don't get here on your own. Having the support system at home and the family and all that matters as well. So they matter as well.
So as you said that, it occurred to me, if I might ask, if there was something that someone in the high school did that helped things to turn out as incredibly well as they did, what was it?
That's another hard one.
I can just say all of my teachers have been super supportive and encouraging, and I tend to have a lot of questions with things, and so they've all been very accommodating, and if I come before class or anything, they're always happy to help. So having encouragement from them and from my parents and my friends and everything has all helped. So that's been really nice.
Great.
And then speaking also to the school, teachers are amazing. I have plenty of amazing teachers. Family's great. I will say though, my guidance counselor has been pivotal in literally everything. Miss Regato has been integral in helping me choose classes and helping me figure out opportunities outside of school and helping me maneuver through my mindset when it comes to school and what I actually want to get out of my high school experience. So I think the fact that she not only helped me with the academic part of it, but also more of the personal and mindset part of it, I think that was really, really important.
Maybe what specific things you could do or you could take advantage of to go exactly where you wanted to go? Is that a good way of hearing what you were saying, what she was able to do?
I think yes, in a way, but it wasn't just so that there was a destination in mind, but she really helped cultivate a mindset to like enjoy the journey. That sounds corny, but that essentially was what
It's
it was.
okay.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Best of luck in your next chapter of your journey. It's only the beginning of what you're going to experience in life, but I think you're all well set up to do amazing things. So, au revoir, les enfants.
And go have some fun during
Goodbye,
senior
children.
week. Thank you.
I usually say you're welcome to stay, but no.
The superintendent just said they should go have fun, and now you're trying
You're
to have
in-
them stay.
I want you to go now.
Thank you. We'll see you at graduation.
Have a wonderful night.
And at SOS.
See you at SOS.
Yeah, absolutely.
Han, you're welcome to stay if you'd like.
Or go.
Or go.
Or go. You could
Mom and I have got our last drive home together.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, see, there you go.
Have a wonderful night.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair, so our missing school committee member Brown is pinging me, saying he would like to join if there's a Google Meet, but doesn't believe there is any. I believe I will let him know that, but just wanted to let you know that he is in the Pacific Northwest on an island attempting to join the meeting, but is not technically
Tell
able
him
right
that
now.
he should also go have some fun
Yes.
and enjoy his
Yes.
Oh, I
family.
forgot.
Yeah.
I'm going to read this into the record on behalf of Mr. Brown. He sent me some things he wanted me to say on his behalf. I should have said this before they left, but Mr. Brown regrets not being able to, and I'll send this to them individually. He regrets not being able to attend this evening. He's out of town. He wants to thank and congratulate Allie and Louine for their service to our committee and the NAP's student representatives. They have both made very valuable and appreciated contributions to our meetings the last several years. He has seen them in action, Allie at Drama Guild and Louine at Robotics, both very impressive, and he wants to wish them the very best for their future. And I'll pass that along to them
Very
in their
nice.
email. All right, and he was not at the 4:30 meeting, so he had no comments on the meeting, on the minutes. All right, moving on. Upcoming events.
Public comment.
Public comment. Public comment? Upcoming events.
Great.
We're exactly on time, too.
Yes. Oh, good job. It's coming. Hold on.
That one's not happening.
Oh, we've been having trouble with that one.
Okay.
Here we go. All right, just a few things coming up. The Touchy Truck, which is always fun for kids. I think there's a fire truck, a police truck. I think there's a tow truck there. That's at North Andover High School on May 23rd. Memorial Day is coming up on Monday. There is no school on Memorial Day. North Andover, town of North Andover is hosting a Memorial Day parade. That's starting at 10 o'clock at the Town Common. North Andover High School is in the middle of their art show. It is happening now through the 28th. And it's happening in the art wing. Ms. Holman asked me to extend an invitation to the school committee members. If you would like to view the art show at some point during the day, between now and the 28th, she's happy for you to come to the school office, and she will take you on a tour of the art show.
I'm sorry, which school?
North Andover High School. It's up until the 28th, and if you would like to drop in, just let them know.
Go to the office.
Yes, just go to the office, and she will take you on a tour. On May 28th is the North Andover High School Spring Concert. That's their culminating concert. June 2nd is Scholarship Night. School committee is always invited to Scholarship Night. That's at 6:30. June 3rd, as we heard, is the prom. On June 4th is the North Andover High School Awards Day. That's in the morning at 10:30. Again, school committee is always welcome to attend that. And then on June 5th is the North Andover High School graduation at 6 o'clock. A couple things that I did not put on there that I forgot, that May 29th is our last day for our seniors. I think Ally talked about that. May 29th is Junior Olympics. That is our, is that right?
Junior games.
Junior Games, yes. So we are doing pre-KK,
It's the ABECC.
ABECC. Would you like to talk about it for me?
Sure.
Yeah. Instead of you telling me and me repeating what you said.
So North Andover is hosting Special Olympics this year, and our chair people, Zora Warren and Lauren Stedman, had decided that it really would be super appropriate to break them up into two games. So we are separating them, the junior games for ABCC, preschool, and kindergarten, and then grades 1 through age 22 will be coming up in June. We were supposed to have this junior games on May 15th, and as of Wednesday, there was a 95% chance of rain. So we postponed it. There was very little rain on Friday, the 15th. So the next date is May 29th. The games themselves are only about an hour or so. That's really appropriate for the age group, and we are really excited. We think it's going to be fantastic.
Great.
Very exciting.
That's all I have.
So, I'm sorry, the 28th, it will still be on the art show?
The art show will still be on the 28th.
Okay, I'll be right near there, I'll come by.
Excellent.
So there is one additional event, June 5th also, SOS, where parents are needed to volunteer.
Yes, very good.
Great. Presentations. We moved ahead. Fantastic. North Andover High School Science Adoption Proposal. Ms. Ando.
Absolutely.
And Ms. Larcombe is going to join us?
Yes, Ms. Larcombe is going to join us. And so thank you for your attention tonight. Kara is going to explain about our some curriculum adoption proposals, and we respectfully ask for you to consider adopting this curriculum. I'm going to turn it over to Kara, who has worked really hard with our science departments at different levels in order to make all of this happen. So thank you, Kara. Good to see you.
Great, thank you. Good to see you all. I'm excited to be with you tonight to share our proposal for adopting Open SciEd and Project Lead the Way for our high school high-quality instructional materials. I could talk about this for days on end. I'm going to try to be concise. I said to Kristen, that's my goal, because, again, lots of details that I can share with you. I'm going to start first by talking about the background and the need for these materials. I'll talk a little bit about just the high school science landscape for high-quality instructional materials, what's available. I'll explain bits about Open SciEd and Project Lead the Way, and then I'll talk a bit about our process for selection as well as our implementation process should you choose to adopt.
Before you continue, we'll use our typical process. We'll hear the presentation. We'll then go back through it, and we'll take questions in the order of the presentation to make sure we don't jump around and get confused. Sound good?
Perfect. Great, thank you. So a little bit about the background and need. Ms. Holman has shared these images with the staff at the high school as well as in her presentation on her improvement plans. The idea about shifting our classrooms from what many might picture as a traditional setting where students are kind of sitting and getting to a really engaging, interactive experience where students are driving the learning. The shifts in science education are aligned with this. In 2012, the National Resource Council published the Framework for K-12 Science Education that described the difference of what many of us probably experienced of kind of sitting and getting, learning about science ideas, memorizing lots of facts and information, maybe doing some cookbook-style labs and activities, to really shifting to the opportunity for students to figure out about the world around them through hands-on investigations, problem-solving, discussions. Perfect example was the robotics club last week that presented to you. They had a problem to solve. They engaged in different activities to get to those solutions and revising along the way. So we're looking to shift all of our subjects in this direction, and especially around science. So the Next Generation Science Standard, or NGSS, was published in 2013. It involves three-dimensional learning. So there are disciplinary core ideas that are the content knowledge that we want students to know, and it falls under four domains: earth and space science, life science, physical science, and engineering. There are 8 science and engineering practice standards that help describe what students should be able to do as they're developing their knowledge around these core ideas. And then there are cross-cutting concepts that talk about how students should think about science. How do we weave together all these different disciplines to help them see the bigger picture? 20 states and the District of Columbia adopted NGSS as is. 24 states, including Massachusetts, adopted and developed their own version of the standards. Some of the key differences in our Massachusetts science, technology, engineering standards really occur at our middle school and high school levels. In the middle school, Massachusetts chose to implement standards by grade level, whereas the NGSS national standards kept the middle school standards by grade band, providing different opportunities for integrating those standards.
At the high school level, Massachusetts kept the standards in a course model of biology, chemistry, physical, or science. And the national standards keep it more open-ended of a list of standards with no clear kind of pathway forward and different options and availability. The Massachusetts standard also incorporated some slightly deviated language into the standards, and they added additional standards. So if you open up the frameworks, there are some that are tagged with an MA at the end that are Massachusetts-specific frameworks. The reason I point this out is, as we're looking at materials and instructional materials, of course, with slight variations to Massachusetts, it creates a little bit of a challenge to our work. So if we look at the landscape for high quality instructional materials, science is much smaller than our other disciplines and grade bands. There are 7 reviewed materials that have undergone the Ed Reports process. 4 of those are green lit across the board, and those are BSCS, Biology, Understanding for Life, and then the 3 different coursework in biology, chemistry, and physics in the Open Sci Ed umbrella. So as we dive deeper, Curate is our Massachusetts process for reviewing, have a number of Massachusetts-specific teachers review. BSCS Science is the only one that has been reviewed under the Curate process. However, Open Sci Ed Massachusetts has been a member partner of the Open Sci Ed development since 2020. Which means that there are teachers across the state that have worked in collaboration with the developers to practice and try out and field test these materials for the last few years. They just finished publishing all of the Open Sci Ed materials within the last year too, so it's pretty newer in its adoption phase across the state. But the state of Massachusetts and Department of Ed has actually developed supplements that go alongside the Open Sci Ed materials to support the Massachusetts standards that the national framework does not include. So as we dove into this process and compared these 2 different biology curriculum in particular, some of the highlights that we saw as benefits for us is not only those Massachusetts specific standards, but the materials and resources of Open Sci Ed were a little more thorough, and as you see, the partial rating in BSCS biology is around the student accessibility, and the teachers really felt that the materials within Open Sci Ed were going to be more accessible for our students. They're both shifts in how we're teaching and engaging students, but they kind of comparing them side by side, that was a benefit they saw. The other nice piece is that there's lots more availability across the state for in-person trainings, and that was an area that they were really looking for as we roll out programs. BSCS had a lot of online and virtual, which they thought might be trickier. The other nice factor with Open Sci Ed is that they do offer biology, chemistry, and physics, so it would create coherence across the department. So teachers could talk the same talk, even if they weren't teaching all of those courses. And students would have an experience where they're developing some common practices within the class that could grow with them across the coursework. So that's why we are leaning and asking about Open Sci Ed rather than BSCS biology. There aren't any other HQIM that have been reviewed for the other disciplines. The Open Sci Ed instructional model is based on a storyline approach, which most of the science curriculum, K-12, is. It's driven by students questioning a natural phenomenon. So they often start with this anchoring phenomenon, watching a video, reading and experiencing, and kind of immersed in a problem or scenario. And that really drives the unit. I have a couple sample unit questions up there from the curriculum. How do ecosystems work, and how can understanding them help us protect them, is one from the biology. How can chemistry help us evaluate fuels and transportation options to benefit the earth and our communities? And then what can we do to make driving safer for everyone is one of the topics in physics. So these really drive what students are asking and questioning and investigating throughout the unit. They experience different opportunities and routines. So they kick off with the anchoring phenomena routine. They create a driving question board where they analyze the event, record what observations, what they noticed, what they wonder about, and create a series of questions that they hope to answer by the end of the unit. They, on the screen, you kind of see the bottom left is a sample driving question board. The top right was immersed in activity. I'm trying to think of the actual routine. It's escaping my mind, but one of the investigating, you can see some models up there. So modeling is really embedded within the curriculum where students are trying to explain their thinking and understand the concepts through different diagrams and pictures, which is a little different than, maybe what we're used to of, here's this model, label the parts. This is really the students designing that model throughout their investigation. And then the bottom right is a sample of the putting the pieces together routine, where students start figuring out what questions from the driving board they've answered and what they have left to uncover through their observations and experiences throughout the unit. The scope and sequence of Open SciEd is a nice connection to how we engage our students in science across the high school. So our students in 9th grade all take biology, then in 10th grade they take chemistry, and then as seniors we hold off physics for senior year so they have as much math under the belt as possible. In their junior year as well as senior year, they don't all take physics, but they have lots of opportunities for different electives. So the Open SciEd curriculum would align with our biology and chemistry and physics coursework. A benefit is, if you notice, some of our students might take a geology or earth science class, but not all of our students. And one of the features of Open SciEd is that it has embedded the earth science standards throughout the biology, chemistry, and physics curriculum. So by utilizing Open SciEd, more students will actually see more earth science than they have in the past. Our physics teacher piloted a unit in the fall, and she said, I can really see the students are engaging in this so different than how they have been with other activities and the other lessons that I've done in the past. So she was not necessarily on our initial radar of, are we ready to launch physics? And when I met with her last week, she said, nope, I'm all in. Can we do this? And she was really excited about that opportunity to try more. Shifting over to Project Lead the Way, as I was speaking about those different electives, Project Lead the Way would fit a gap for some of our other coursework. We offer lots of great electives. Teachers have utilized different resources and established different curriculum. Project Lead the Way is a national curriculum. It does offer programming K-12, so there are different coursework for our elementary and middle school students, but we're focusing in on the high school coursework. We have been utilizing the computer science program since 2017. It's shocking. It blows my mind that we started it so long ago. It feels like just yesterday, but it is utilized in our computer science essentials and our 2 AP computer science courses already. We're looking to expand that programming to the biomedical science coursework and looking to roll it out over 3 years with 3 different elective opportunities for our students. There is an opportunity for an engineering coursework in the future, and I've spoken to Mr. Bennett Ahern about how it might work with our current robotics. It does use VEX, which is fantastic, so it wouldn't be reinventing the wheel, but would potentially provide some different pathways for other electives in addition to our robotics that we have. So it's something that we're investigating for the future. Although it doesn't have a Ed Reports or Curate, go back for a second, Kristen. I'm losing my brain without the notes on the screen. Although it has not been reviewed, it is a program that has a Massachusetts designation as a advanced coursework in our state accountability system. So our students who take computer science can be recognized for college credit or scholarships or even preferential admission to different colleges. So across the nation, Project Lead the Way is a very visible opportunity for students to engage in some different coursework that they might have in the past. And Massachusetts as well designates it pretty high. So what feels a little weird tonight, go to the next slide. Oh, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Next slide, please. The Project Lead the Way model is very interactive. So students are building their real-world, hands-on challenges. They start off with some well-defined activities where they're building their skills. They move on to projects that are a little bit more open-ended to practice those skills, and then land in a brand new problem where they're applying their skills and knowledge to a brand new experience. The biomedical sciences provides lots of lab and clinical skills to students that they might not see. We have used some of these in our AP classes and dabbled a bit in our anatomy and physiology, but they'll really be open up to many more skills that we have not provided in the past. They do offer 5 different biomedical science courses, so there are some future opportunities to add additional electives if we can find the space for them within student schedules. For now, we are looking to start with 3 courses. It feels weird because I've already come to you talking about the grant that you have adopted, but I wanted to officially be on the books asking for your support for utilizing the Project Lead the Way curriculum in our courses. We have received $75,000 from the 1-8 Foundation, which will support purchasing materials and equipment. It'll support training our teachers and connects us to this network of other communities. So we are the 10th cohort. I believe our Comp Sci group was in the 2nd cohort, if I'm doing my math correctly. So it really has grown. You can see on the screen that 163 districts across the state use Project Lead the Way in various ways, not just with the high school courses, but lots of students and lots of programs. So another benefit for both of these is that there are other teachers across the state that our teachers can connect with and learn from and with. Students will have the opportunity to participate in a few events. There's a Student Solve, which is a virtual design challenge that happens in the fall. Students get to submit their work to industry professionals and get feedback. And then there's a student showcase in the May. So we're looking to support students to attend that and share all their great work at the end of the year. Lots of steps in our selection process and our learning. Of course, we've known about Project Lead the Way for a while. It's been excited to be able to jump into that avenue. On the science front, the top shows some of the professional development that our teachers have taken part in. We have run an ambitious science teaching book study for the last few years, which really dives into the shift in science pedagogy, and teachers have started dabbling with some of these routines and techniques. I think it really helped get them to see where there's opportunities to add some new resources to help support the work that they do with students. The Science Performance Assessment Ambassador Program it was developed by the state to help with our shifts to some of the performance tasks that are now embedded with MCAS, and they continue to develop classroom tasks. And so myself and Carrie Honois at the high school have participated in that. Carrie and I, along with Ruth Delaware and Lynn O'Neill, participated in the SCAPE Science Curriculum Adaptation Project for educators. So again, diving deep into what's best for our students. And then last summer, DESE offered some free training in Open SciEd, and a few of our teachers participated in that as well. Then our big kickoff in the fall with the Case for HQIM, where all of our high school staff dove into and understanding the value and rationale for utilizing high quality instructional materials. That led us to department work. So teachers across this year have dove into the units, trying out some lessons and piloting and talking about what might be the best process forward for the department. That brought us to the opportunity in January. During that January PD Day, we brought in the Wade Institute, who talked everybody through the storyline approach and Open SciEd in particular, and did some building of knowledge within the exact curriculum, and that really helped other teachers understand it that hadn't been at the training in the fall to feel more comfortable trying out these units and really understanding the process better. And then you saw a little picture last week. Amy Otari, Lynn Grantham, and I attended the Project Lead the Way grant convening, which was nice. We got to do some experimenting and then planning for the future rollout. We are looking for, again, about a 3-year plan. This year, our CP biology teachers did use the Open SciEd curriculum and pilot it, and are excited to continue and move that forward. As we add on honors next year, should you choose to adopt, we anticipate that our honors classes will work faster through the curriculum and be able to dive into standards a little bit deeper, or potentially add some additional opportunities and learning throughout their year. We are looking to start the Open SciEd chemistry with our foundations in chemistry unit. That would require one teacher getting trained and really becoming somewhat of an expert on the curriculum and working with 2 sections of students. From there, we would roll out to our CP and honors chemistry students in the next year and train the rest of our teachers. They are looking to pilot a unit and try out 1 unit next year so they can start to get more familiar and comfortable. Physics, again, we're looking to start with our college prep physics classroom and then move into our honors sections. Important to note, our AP biochemistry and physics is a second year. Some schools it is a first year, so we wouldn't be utilizing Open SciEd in our AP classes. On the
What do you mean by, I'm sorry, no, not present. What's the difference between first year and second year AP?
So all of our students, as a prerequisite for an AP, take a year of, and I take that back, biology. They take a year of biology, either college prep or honors, and then would move on to AP biology. Same thing with chemistry. They take a year as a sophomore and then would move on to AP chemistry. Physics is actually the only class where it is a senior class, and AP physics is the first year experience that they have. So we are looking at a difference between the AP and the honors physics is the level of calculus that the physics entails. And right now we do not see that it would fit and match and align with the AP physics curriculum. So we'll keep kind of investigating where that will be. It is designed, there are some schools that teach physics first as a freshman class. The Open SciEd physics curriculum is designed for a 3rd year and kind of upper level class. So it does align with the standards that we teach in our current physics class. Good question. On the project Lead the Way, go back 1 second, Kristen, thank you. The project Lead the Way Biomedical Sciences, we're actually doing in a slightly unique order. Their initial intro class is Principles of Biomedical Science that kind of gains some understanding, and then we feed on from there. As we looked at our rollout plan, the Human Body Systems coursework aligns with our Anatomy and Physiology course. So this wouldn't require adding anything new to our program of studies. This would be utilizing the Project Lead the Way curriculum in our current Anatomy and Physiology. We have a few teachers that teach that. We have chosen to start with our honors course because one of our new teachers that we're in the process of hiring will probably be teaching a section of the college prep. And we want to keep those in a manageable kind of process moving forward. So we're going to start with the honors curriculum at first and then roll it out to CP in the next year. The second course that we're going to add is called the Project Lead the Way capstone course. What's really unique about this is that any of the Project Lead the Way pathways could use this as their culminating course. So by offering anatomy first, we typically have juniors and seniors in that course. So juniors that complete the human body systems would then have capstone as their next course, their senior year. And then we'd backtrack and go back and add principles of biomedical science. That provides us some time to look at scheduling and kind of map out what that might be and what impact it might have. We've dabbled with, where are those opportunities? It does align with our forensics curriculum, but right now forensics is a semester course. So as we work on our program of studies, as you know, we're in that process, we'll look at those opportunities and feel very confident that we can make things work, that students would be able to add that on as a course, most likely in their sophomore year. So the idea is that students would start the 3 courses in their sophomore year and continue. It doesn't mean students couldn't take one of either the human body systems or principles of biomed as a junior or a senior. So they could take it as a standalone, but we'd look to start integrating a pathway for students. Our computer science Project Lead the Way course would also be able to feed into the capstone. So it actually opens up that opportunity for more students by adding the capstone as our 3rd course instead of some of the other biomedical science coursework. So lots of ongoing PD to make this work and a continuation of aligning to the Massachusetts standards. So I respectfully request that you could consider adopting Open SciEd Biology, Chemistry, and Physics and Project Lead the Way Biomedical Sciences as our HQIM for North Andover High School science courses.
I thought, wouldn't it be the human body systems?
So biomedical sciences is the pathway that includes all of those, all three
Thank you.
courses. Yes.
Okay.
Nope. Good question. There's a lot of moving pieces and parts.
So to speak.
All right. Back to the beginning.
Well done.
That was you did
There's a lot.
That was a lot.
Wow.
Deep breath.
I have to tell a joke. When I was interviewing for a job here in North Andover, Kara was on the screening committee, and at some point during the interview, they were talking about teacher feedback, and I was like, oh, I feel like feel very confident that I could give teacher feedback. I mean, I couldn't teach the 11th grade physics lesson, but I could give the teacher feedback on how to improve the 11th grade physics lesson. And at some point, someone at the table said, don't worry, none of us can teach the 11th grade physics lesson. And then they said, no, wait a second, Kara can teach the 11th grade physics lesson. And so that's sort of my introduction to Kara, and I'm always astounded by not only her deep knowledge of science, but also like her enthusiasm oozes. And so thank you, Kara, good work.
That was a lot. Thank you so much. I actually don't have too many questions, but we're going to go back to the beginning. We'll go through basically in order. Committee members, please chime in, ask your questions. Yeah, I would suggest on some of the next-gen science theories and the frameworks and the clarifying questions would be great. Questioning what they and understand what they mean, please. Whether or not we should use them, that's just what the state has us use. So it's just the way it is. But whether or not we should then accept Project Lead the Way or Open Science, Open Scied, please ask those questions.
Well,
So
I have a question which I think responds to your request about clarifying. Let's see if I have this right. There's sort of two basic approaches to teaching science. One is you say, well, there's a body of knowledge, you guys need to know this. It tends to be sage on the stage, it tends to be top down, and students tend to get either lost or turned off.
In some cases, yes.
And then the other is give them some question and have them look into it. And then this has all kinds of advantages. They start working in small groups. It isn't all whole group instruction, so there's opportunity for teachers to, give individual instruction. They get excited. So it's clearly superior in most ways. However, there is sort of a trade-off, right? You could be really good at 2 or 3 things, but there could be huge areas of science that you don't know anything about. Because, you spent all this time on this one thing, you got really knowledgeable about it, and you get to be really good at doing science, but you don't quite understand the broad sense of where the frontiers are. And I just wonder about your comments about how you trade off these two things against each other.
I think that's the benefit of having an HQIM that is driving that unit of how long you're spending diving deep. The units really provide that end goal and are designed in a way, Kristen, if you can go to the slide, that has kind of the layout. Where are we?
7.
8 actually, yep. So if you go one more, if you look, so that left-hand picture shows what the biology coursework would be, those units. I know it's really, really tiny, but there's 5 units. So throughout those 5 units, students are answering and gaining that understanding of the content, very specific content, but through a very investigative, questioning approach.
But a wide range of contents, not just getting lost in one or getting deep in one at the expense of.
Yeah, so throughout their experience, they should gain I'm going to go back to the alignment to the standards. They should be gaining an understanding of everything that we have decided as a state should be covered and paid attention to throughout those coursework.
How's your impression about, how did it work out with the biology classes that were actually doing it this year?
Good. The learning the routines is tricky to train students to kind of think in this way in science. Not that our younger students aren't doing this in some ways, in different ways at the high school level. It's new for the teachers too. So understanding what those routines are is a challenge that they're embracing and jumping into. It's definitely a shift. The pacing, just like anything, the first year is hard, trying to make sure. So they did kind of shift at the end of this year, and they're making sure kids are ready for the Bio MCAS on June 5th, 6th. I forget the exact dates this year. And so they are shifting to some of their prior activities to end the year in the college prep classes. I think we anticipate, as I mentioned, the honors classes tend to move faster than the college prep do anyway, and so we are feeling pretty confident that they'll be able to fit the units in. The learning curve will be on that how are we learning. There are still investigative reading, so they're still developing their skills, their literacy skills in science as well to kind of learn.
What I was asking was, presumably if this works, there's a whole lot of excitement that gets generated that you wouldn't have seen in previous years, and I wonder if you saw that sort of thing happening.
Yes, we've had a lot of good conversations around, are the questions as exciting to kids as we think they might be? Some more than others. I think another barrier is sometimes the units feel long and that you're still working on that same questions, and kids are used to like, what's, as we know, like the TikTok, right? What's next? What's the next piece? So they do try to add some investigations within, so you kind of step away or on a tangent from that big overarching question. So I think those are areas that we've had some good conversations. Nothing's perfect, but I think that's where some of the challenge will lie, is how do we keep that excitement of a topic that maybe a student is excited about, maybe it isn't. The routines provide some opportunity for students to make connections to their own life, and so hopefully those are ways where our teachers can use their skill to keep it alive and exciting.
And because it's gone through the Ed Reports process, they've told us that it's aligned to our frameworks, which means by doing these units, they are in fact learning the things they need to learn to be able to be successful on the MCAS, because that's aligned to our frameworks as well.
Yes. The challenge is some of the bio standards are Massachusetts specific.
Yes.
So that's where we're looking at. How do we add on
That's a larger
some different
problem
pieces?
to solve. That's not about us.
Yep.
I will say, given how accessible information is nowadays, I am happier to have kids learn how to do science and the process of thinking scientifically than all the other stuff, because that's the thing where we as schools still matter so much, is teaching them how to do those things versus know this stuff, because they can find that stuff. My own project, my own viewpoint, though I will own that. Other questions about the first couple of slides?
Go back to slide 6.
Yep.
So just a couple questions on this one. So it looks, I think you clearly say it on the slide, but just want to make sure I understand. So it looks like the landscape of HQIM in this area is very small. There's not a lot of, there's no choice, for example, in physics or chemistry.
Yep. There are other materials out there that have not been reviewed. Most of them, for example, the book that we're currently using in biology is your more traditional book. They've embedded some of the storylines, but it doesn't involve all the routines and experiences for that real kind of investigative storyline approach.
Okay. So thank you for the correction. So it's the small landscape of HQIM that's reviewed by Ed Reports that we really need to make sure that it's aligned. Okay. And going that pool is small, but it sounds like from our teachers and students' experience with this, just because it's small doesn't mean it's not good. It's the team truly feels like it's the right choice, not the only choice.
I think for the high school, the teachers have really started to understand that kind of why and the reasoning behind it. Is there some fear again of, are we going to hit all the bio standards? Are kids really going to be as ready? I think there's still some nervousness around that. At the high school level where there are college prep and honors classrooms, we've had those conversations of how do we make sure that our students in our college prep are getting everything, and then what makes the honors sections different? How are they getting that deeper or additional level of rigor that we aim for to kind of set those courses apart. So this time they're faster to get through, to dive in deeper to concepts or add on additional concepts.
Thank you.
So I have two questions. The first one, how does this correlate with how they're learning science in middle school, transferring it into high school?
Good question. I'll be back sometime next year with an adoption in middle school.
Upside does go down
yes.
towards middle school, right?
Yes. So I think one thing that we've been doing at both middle school and high school is working on claim evidence reasoning. So if we're looking at science, how do we make sure we are understanding and being able to explain and use scientific evidence to explain our reasoning to ideas? I think part of what teachers have seen through that is you need some good tasks in order to really dive deep and explain something where it's not just everybody answers in the exact same way. So I think that the teachers at the middle school have been piloting, and we're trying some things out. We're not ready to adopt yet. We're going to continue with another pilot in the fall and keep investigating. I'm hoping by December we'll be back here for some science, middle school science. I think they are working really hard to either utilize what they have and some of these pilots to, again, shift. So it's not that teachers weren't shifting. I think it's makes it easier when the tasks are at hand, and now they're doing that deep thinking about how do I best teach this with our students. Elementary right now is using mystery science. It isn't vetted. We'll start a process at some point. We're kind of figuring out with Eureka Squared, and we're going to do some social studies work probably next on the bucket. The mystery science approach does launch students with an investigation and a question, and uses the storyline approach. It doesn't use the exact same techniques throughout the unit, but students are experiencing that notice and wonder routine and explaining real world phenomena in there.
And that, sorry, I'm changing it to 3 questions because that made me think of it.
That's fine.
So how is this method tested as opposed to learning facts and, filling in the bubble? How is this?
Good question. One area that we will be working on is assessments. If you go to the Open SciEd website, there's lots of different articles around this. I think the idea is we really want a performance task. What are we seeing, much like with the Project Lead the Way curriculum? What's a new problem, and how can students take their learning and apply it to a new situation? DESE has created a few of those. The curriculum has them at the end. It has less of our more typical kind of quiz format. So we'll look, teachers are trying out some different things, definitely using exit ticket techniques, kind of listening into what the student conversations are, provide some opportunities for them to kind of check on the go of, are students with me? Are we understanding things? We're toying with, do we use some of our more traditional tests and quizzes? How do those fit in? Lots of conversations with that ongoing work. I think a tricky, good and bad, is that we utilize PowerSchool. And at the high school level, teachers are expected to put grades into PowerSchool. I think it's every 2 or 3 weeks to kind of update so that we're in the know. I get kind of the alerts with my freshmen of, how are things going? And so it does create this dynamic of we want students to know how they're doing, we want families to know how they're doing, but we also don't want to add these little quizzes or assessments along the way and kind of dilute this experience that they have. So teachers are getting creative with what's within the curriculum that that would be appropriate to put in to PowerSchool that doesn't feel like a learning in progress score that maybe isn't really that full understanding of where they're at. So not a super clear answer.
Sounds like a really good argument to move towards standards-based grading and reporting.
I'd say they've done some great work of, do students know and are they able to do, right, getting at that language when we're reporting out.
Questions on,
one more question.
Sorry, I miscounted.
No, that's okay. On slide 8, when we're looking at our current offerings, are there any current offerings that we're taking away or maybe that isn't covered by these 2 programs? And how does that change, I guess, in correlation with that? if we're taking out any classes, how does that affect the staffing of our science department?
So we are not removing anything. That's the nice thing about even adding the Project Lead the Way. We looked at, it is coursework. It stemmed from the anatomy teachers saying, I'm trying to add these storylines and these really creative pieces. What's out there? And I said, ooh, yes, Project Lead the Way. We can do this. And so that was a great opportunity to enhance what we're already doing and not replace the course, but the materials that we're using for students to access that content.
So we're not changing the program of studies, we're changing the curriculum inside the individual courses that are already part of the program of studies.
Yes.
Okay.
Going future, in order to add on the third Project Lead the Way program, that does align with forensics. Right now we do have a forensics part 1 and forensics part 2. So if we create that as a full year, it will meet that requirement. We got creative with the computer science essentials for Project Lead the Way is a full year course, and we offer it as a 1 semester course, so they just don't get to the end of year coursework. So they're still utilizing that in that
But that's a
capacity.
future
So
thing for us to think about.
that's kind of a future. So when we come to you with program of studies, you can anticipate perhaps some opportunities to shift our programming at the high school to provide a full year coursework in that. And again, potentially some additional courses from their offerings that we have. That would impact some of the other electives that we offer, so we want to think carefully about what are some pathways for students. We think the 3-way coursework would be a nice fit and a starting point, and then as Louine ever so eloquently shared, right, students need to make some tough decisions. We offer a lot of great programs, so how do we help guide students to have different opportunities and not be too overwhelming in the same front? We have a retirement in the science department. I'm trying to remember. So there is a posting out there and interviews are happening. So as we examined what our capacity of our teachers are for next year, they often teach 2 to 3 courses. So we were trying to be very strategic. If they're a biology teacher, what else are they teaching that isn't new next year, so that if they're adding on biology, if they're teaching that anatomy course with the Project Lead the Way curriculum, making sure that they, again, weren't adding on too many new things at once. So we're pretty strategic. And again, kudos to Amy O'Terry for mapping out who can teach what and when. She herself is a unicorn because she is certified in biology, chemistry, and teaches anatomy. I was certified, or am certified in chemistry and could teach a section of physics. So we can all teach a little bit out, but the science department is unique, unlike math or social studies and ELA, where you could teach anything. It's more like a foreign language where you get certified in individual areas and not across the board in science. So we need to be really strategic with who we hire and what offerings they can have to meet the needs of our students.
I want to pick up on something you said about particularly when you teach them doing science, some of this is not unique to the particular kind of science you're doing. And I wonder, are you bringing in chemistry and physics teachers to sort of help think about how you do the common stuff? Because eventually you want, however you approach how you do it, they all have to do it kind of the same way, if you get what I'm saying.
I think the science and engineering practices provide that for all science teachers. What are those things that we want to make sure students are modeling, students are developing, defining problems, asking questions. So those are that layer. There's some nuance in how you might do it across different disciplines. I think a benefit of Open SciEd is it's going to have some coherence across all the different disciplines in using those different routines.
Then I wondered if that would apply also, because you said there's this problem of how do you assess it. And that would also, wouldn't that also be, you'd want to think about that for chemistry and physics as well as biology together.
Yeah, there's lots of connections we try to make for students so it doesn't feel like this whole new process starting all over again.
Other questions any questions about Project Lead the Way? I have a question about implementation.
Mhm.
Where I work has been implementing OpSci for a couple years now. You might have seen some. Today there was a conference that they presented at. You might have been there about for the SCAPE as well. They decided to only take on implementing 2 units each year in OpSci because of the big shifts, which is a particular methodology that they chose because they felt it worked best for them. Because that's as much as they could support the teachers. What is implementation and ongoing support going to look like, both internally and then external partners coming in to help support potentially OpSci?
Perfect. We have some of our bio teachers are trained, and so they jumped in. Part of our conversation has been if we start with 1 or 2 and then go back to the old, what are kids going to think and how are we going to manage that? So we are in our plan, and we'll keep evaluating as we go throughout the year. The plan would be that we would start, that the courses you see listed under 26, 27 would go all in. With physics, we do not right now spend time on the electricity and magnetism as much, so that's a unit that we might not start in that first year and kind of analyze what's the pacing. The other challenges with our seniors, as you know, they get out early. And so we have less time to cover all of our physics standards, so we stick to the mechanics for the most part is the core. So for physics, we might not do all the units. CP Chemistry Foundations are our students that need more support. So we anticipate that we can get pretty far, but we're not sure. So we'll analyze, but our teacher who's jumping into that felt pretty good. She's going to be trained this summer, and that will help decide where to go. So it'll be a work in progress to see, but we are hoping, I think through the funding, what's nice is that we could, if adopted, that we've kind of mapped out having the funding to purchase all the materials. So even if we make that decision that we're not going to do the last unit, then we would have it for the following year and then pick up from there.
These are consumables every year that you have to reorder?
There are consumables. Right now we are looking to purchase the good and the bad. They're open SciEd as open materials. You can print everything, purchase your lab materials. There are several different vendors, I believe it's 5, that publish and print out the resources. So our teachers went through and looked at, we got samples of all of them, and there's one that took the resource and made it a little bit easier to read. And so that is the vendor, and it actually came in with a cheaper price, which was nice. And so we're looking to purchase the teacher manuals for everybody, and from that particular vendor. And then some of the teachers are interested in using the workbook. Some have found that copying the materials for students and making smaller packets is a better option. That's how our CP students did this year, and that worked well for them. And then the kits have both some reusable materials and then consumable materials. So long term, we anticipate that the funding that we already use for science replacement cost will cover the consumable materials long term. And
then tell me a little bit about the supports that are embedded in the curriculum for our multilingual learners and our students with disabilities.
Good question. They are, and I cannot remember, it is not an area I've dove deep into. I think our teachers have been skilled that have been using it, so very good question. I'm happy to follow up. But off the top of my head, I do not know.
Any other questions? Alrighty then. So this counts as our first read presentation. We'll think about it, and we will have our official vote on June
4th, isn't it?
4th is our next meeting. Thank you very much, Ms. Larco. If we have questions in the meantime, please forward them to Michelle or Kristen. And then let's do that before the 2nd, so that they have time to respond and get back to us. So by Tuesday, the 2nd, have any of those questions to Ms. Ando, and we'll get the stuff in. I don't know if you're going to be back here, but
I defer
Kristen
to that.
will be, so we'll have the answers.
I'll be here. Or depending on what questions,
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Does that sound reasonable to everybody?
Thank you, Kara.
So much for your
Thank you,
very
Kara.
well
Well
prepared,
done.
thoughtful presentation. Madam Superintendent,
Yes.
we are, you're foregoing your usual superintendent's report of like what's happening in the district and just diving right into your goals presentation? Are we doing strategic plan first? Oh my
It is
goodness.
a bit of a busy night.
I
We
know,
just
I
decided
skipped
that we
right
would put
over
everything
that.
in, and I appreciate our folks that are here for the strategic plan. We're running a little behind, but that's okay. That was a wonderful presentation, and
I always
really
skip
appreciate.
things.
It's okay. It happens. So I'd like to invite Mehek. I'm going to say it. Sankala. Okay, I'll invite Mehek to join us up here at the table as well. Mehek, many of you know, she has been here before, but she was our student rep on our strategic planning. And then we have our consultants from TLA that we're going to ask to join us as well, Rebecca Goslin and Phil Conrad, who are our consultants from Teaching Learning Alliance, as we present our strategic plan tonight. And so the three of them, myself and Kristen, are going to walk you through sort of an overall picture of our strategic plan, and then talk a little bit about what our next steps might be.
And Mahak was in her 8th grade project for civics.
Mr. Gravy.
Mr. McGrady did a lot of work around religious holiday observances and helped spearhead and get a new policy brought before us that we voted on.
She's
Yes.
Yep, she's been really busy. She's gone to
Yep.
the state about that, looking to bring that to other school districts. Mehek did an internship with our town municipal, was it last summer?
Yes,
Yeah.
summer. This year I'm doing it at the State House, which is going to be interesting.
Awesome.
Doing great work.
Yeah, she's, been slacking off.
I know.
Right, exactly.
Uh,
Mehek was just an absolute treasure to add to our strategic planning committee. We really enjoyed getting to know you and each other, and so thank you for your
Are you a
contributions to the
junior
plan.
this year?
Junior, yes.
Oh my
We get
goodness
to keep
gracious.
her a bit.
One more.
Leaving it.
Often I think she was the voice of reason sometimes when we were struggling. I see some nodding happening when we were trying to make some decisions, turning it back to the students. So really appreciate that, and I'm really glad that when we invited her to help us with this presentation, she eagerly said yes. So thanks for being here. So just as a reminder, this year our school theme has been rooted in purpose and growing in practice. And it really reflects the journey we've been on. We've spent the last 2 years building a strong roots through our curriculum work and our system improvement, strategic planning, and listening carefully to our community. Now we're looking ahead towards growth, towards deeper collaboration, and strong impact. This strategic plan process has been rooted in who we are as a district, while also challenging us to think about what we aspire to become. Go to the next slide. As we began this work, we really reflected on our district goals, because strategic planning should not exist separately outside of our day-to-day work. Our work around high-quality instructional materials, strengthening our MTSS system, and maintaining responsible fiscal stewardship has provided a really strong foundation. The goals have helped anchor our thinking and reminded us that improvement is not a series of disconnected initiatives. The strategic plan builds upon this work that's already underway, and it creates a roadmap that aligns with our efforts moving forward. Go to the next slide. So this plan represents our roadmap that we're calling Growing Together, 2026 to 2031. It's kind of hard sort of thinking that far, but that's what we are doing. We intentionally chose the phrase growing together because strategic planning is not something that's created in a small group and then just handed to the community. It reflects a collective effort and a shared responsibility. This work belongs to all of us: students, families, staff, school leaders, our community, our partners, and our school committee. Growth happens through collaboration. Next slide. One of the strengths of this process was our broader representation on the Strategic Planning Committee. We intentionally brought together students, parents, educators, school leaders, staff, community members, school committee representation, and representation from other boards in our town, because we really wanted the multiple perspectives at the table. I would like to thank everyone who participated. People gave their time, they shared their ideas, we challenged each other's assumptions, we engaged in thoughtful, sometimes heated conversation. Their voices were really what helped shape the work that you'll see tonight. It was a really wonderful, and one of the things that I really appreciated with our partnership with Teaching Learning Alliance was always reminding us about the person that wasn't, or the student or the family that wasn't at the table. While our group was a variety of folks in our town. It didn't represent everyone in our town. And so they kept leading us and reminding us to remember the people that weren't there and that we were building this plan for those people as well, which I thought was just a really helpful point as we were moving through this. And so at this point, this next slide, I'm going to turn this over to Phil Conrad, who is one of the consultants that worked with us from Teaching Learning Alliance, and ask him to talk to us about the process and walk us through the planning framework and our next steps.
Happy to do it. Thanks, Pam.
You're welcome.
As Pam said, it was a really important to us and to the district that it be collaborative. So phase one, the building of the foundation, was the opportunity for the district to provide all of the statistical data information that they had that they wanted to be considered in the strategic planning. So we collected that information. We also collected survey information. So survey went out to everyone in the community, whether you were a parent, a student, faculty member, or you were just a community member, not connected directly to the schools. And we had an opportunity to do that in multiple languages. And so that survey went out and came back, and that data was corroborated, and we took it and made sure that we understood what it was saying, so that the committee, when we got to phase two, would really be able to look at that information. We also came to the district on a number of different days, and we met face-to-face with different constituent groups. So we met with students, we met with parents, we met with community leaders, we met with leadership team members, and we had some open meetings as well, so anybody who wanted to come could meet with us. And we listened, asked questions, and just really understood better and better what the district was looking for as it moved forward. We also had the opportunity during that foundational meeting period to work with the superintendent to understand where the district was and where the district wanted to go from her point of view as well. And then we took all of that information, and it's a lot of information, as you can see. We took it into what we call phase two, so phase one was probably December and January. We had a snow day, of course, as everybody did. And then we moved into phase two, which was really the building of the plan. And in that, we took all of the members of the committee that you saw on the slide, and we started to really dig into the data and ask, what was it telling us about the district? What was it telling us about the strengths and the challenges? And where did we want to see the district move forward? And so we facilitated those conversations with the committee members so that they could come up and bubble up what were the initiatives that the community wanted to see happen, and move forward with what are some of the action steps that might be there. What's the theory of action? So how is this going to happen? What's the mission? What are the core values? What are the beliefs of the district? And those were some really great conversations, and I'm sure Pam will talk more about that. So that was really phase two, is the building. As we built, and Pam will walk through it, you'll see that the plan has the core values, the mission, the plan of action, and then it has the initiatives. And each of those initiatives has a large area, and then there's some smaller initiatives within those. And then once you guys have the opportunity to review it and approve it, it will go into phase three. And phase three is the hardest part, because that's the implementation. How are you going to balance all of the needs that you've identified, and how are you going to move forward on them? Because you can't do them all at once, so you have to prioritize them. Some of them will be just reorganizing. Some of them will cost money. Some of them will create challenges. And so you have to figure out how we're going to move forward with that, who's going to move forward with that, and how are we going to make sure that we continue to build consensus around all of these things as they were built from December forward, right? Because remember, we didn't build the plan. We facilitated you all building the plan, and that was really, really important for us to make sure that when we leave and you get to phase three, this is your work and you feel comfortable and confident that it actually meets what you want to do next. So those are the three phases of the planning, and so you're sort of end of phase two, beginning of phase three as we go. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I'm going to turn it over to Mehak now, and she's going to talk to you about the mission statement. We had the mission statement and the vision statement, and then talk a little bit about RAISE as well. We had a really lively conversation about RAISE and whether or not RAISE, the RAISE values are are alive and well in our community? Are they continuing to sort of suit the needs of our, I don't want to take all of our thunder, but suit the needs of our community? And so I'm going to let Mehak talk about the next 3 slides.
Okay, thank you. So we started by discussing a mission and vision statement, basically what we want our town to be like and where we want to reach in the next few years. So our mission statement basically highlights the reasoning of our town and who we are. And when others read this mission statement, they should be able to understand our core values and our beliefs as a town and a community. So our mission statement as of now is empowering students to reach their full potential, full academic and personal potential for success in a dynamic world. We chose this wording so it wasn't just academics, but so people can find potential in their own ways and find success, whether it be through the community, in town, or when they go off to college. So yeah. Next is going to be a bit about RAISE. So RAISE stands for Respect, Achievement, Inclusion, Service, and Empathy. And it's been drilled into us since kindergarten, even before. It's everywhere, like the benches, even the tables. So we had a nice discussion about if it's being perceived well and the influence on RAISE on students, how some people felt like students weren't seeing RAISE actually being followed through and it was just words, but also the true meaning of RAISE. So civic character and culture is really important to the development of well-rounded students, and this can be seen through RAISE. So respect. Students think about each other before acting. They appreciate contributions and show respect for themselves, others, property, and the environment. Achievement. Students exercise best effort and judgment. They set goals and promote positive academic, social, and personal development. Inclusion. Students break down barriers by inviting new people in teams, groups, and circles, working to be a united, collaborative community. Service. Students believe growth depends on the willingness to contribute, support, and to work towards a greater good of relationship and community. And finally, empathy. Students are aware and consider another person's situation, feelings, or motives before speaking or taking action. So, at least for the high school, I can see this happening every day with principal updates and students coming in talking about what each other are achieving, different competitions, and how students are working together. We can see inclusion as people are working together in big group projects, whether it be end of the year final projects, or even every day working to invite new students to sit at lunch. So I'm happy to say that I've seen it working. I've been in the North Andover public schools since I was really little, and it's great to see how even now students like my younger brother are learning about RAISE and adopting it into their everyday life. Finally, we have our vision statement. The vision statement is the aspirational description of long-term goals that we have and what we want to achieve in the midterm to long-term future. It's intended to serve as a clear guide for choosing current and future courses of action, and it's supposed to be brief but also concise. It clearly shows the district's vision and what we're trying to achieve as a district. So our vision statement is empowered, engaged, resilient learners who contribute meaningfully to their communities. Yes.
Thank you, Mehak. That's a tough act to follow.
It sure is a tough act to follow.
That was great. Good luck.
Gee, thanks.
Wow. Sassy McSassy is here.
I can't express enough like how valuable you were to the group, and you clearly have internalized this process, these ideas, and I'm just really proud of you. And so, not to, Ms. Lathrop would be wonderful, but I'm taken aback by how much you've internalized the process. Thank you.
It was a very healthy debate about RAISE, and some people thought that perhaps it wasn't serving our community's purpose the way that we had hoped it would, or that it served its purpose, or that really it was more just an elementary. There was a lot of focus on elementary, and Mehak was one that really talked passionately about how she sees it in action every day at the high school, so it's great that she's here to be able to do that with us a little bit too. So our mission and our vision statements really only matter if they have a guide action, right? And so that really brings us to our theory of action. Our theory of action reflects what we believe and how improvement happens. We believe that strong instruction is grounded in research and high-quality materials. We believe authentic engagement with students and families matter. We believe that safe and supportive and inclusive schools matter. Most importantly, we believe that students thrive when they feel connected, challenged, and supported. The theory of action serves as that bridge between our beliefs and the work we will prioritize moving forward. So you see in our theory of action, we always said it was like an if-then. So if we provide you can read it, I'll just read you through the first one. If we provide a cohesive educational experience grounded in research, high-quality instructional materials, and grade-level standards, and supported by impactful professional learning and data-informed interventions, then we will strengthen teaching and learning for every student. I'm going to read them. If we authentically engage and effectively communicate with students, families, and staff, ensure our schools are safe, modern, and well-resourced, and build strong partnerships to increase opportunities, then we will create the conditions for student success. If we foster inclusion and culturally responsive environments where everyone feels a true sense of belonging, then all students will graduate prepared to pursue their future with confidence, curiosity, and a deep connection to their community. It was really important to this group that our students continue to have a connection to their community. And I know it takes me, maybe a minute to read these three statements. It took this group a long time to come to this theory of action because it was so important that we were bringing forward something that really encompassed everything. There was lots of just, being very thoughtful about word choices as we moved through the theory of action. All right. Sorry, I'm losing my own place a little bit now. And then we moved into our strategic focus areas and our objectives. Again, this is for 2026 through 2031. What we found were that there were 5 themes that really emerged for us, or 5 focused areas. They were teaching and learning, community engagement, resources, facilities and technology, communication, and culture and climate. We're going to spend a little bit of time going through the next few slides and talking about each one of these focus areas. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Ando.
Excellent. So our first focus area is around teaching and learning. And I'm sure you will be surprised to hear that we want a cohesive educational experience driven by research-based instruction, high-quality materials, grade-level standards, and targeted professional learning through data interventions and extensions that ensure effective learning and growth for every student. Down there in the bullets, you see possible action steps that we could take in order to meet this objective, that once you approve of the objective, we will work as a community to flesh out these objectives, timelines, how things are going to get done. But things that came really to the forefront were early literacy outcomes, an assessment framework, professional development roadmap, HQIM, I know you're shocked, and the idea of the continued work of vision of a graduate. These are things that came forward. Focus area 2 was on community engagement. Leveraging partnerships with the broader community, families, educational staff, town departments, nonprofits, businesses, and higher education to increase access to resources, experience, and supports that promote equity, inclusion, and success for every student. So the idea that how can we use this amazing community that we live in order to be an asset to our students and vice versa. And so we had talked about extracurricular programming, community engagement plans, sustaining the existing partnerships that we have, CPAC, LPAC, PTAs, strengthen school-to-school collaboration, and developing relationships with town agencies, such as the library or historical center.
Moving into focus area 3, thank you, Kristen. Moving into focus area 3 was resources, facilities, and technology. Our objective is to maintain and improve facilities that are modern, safe, and well-resourced learning environments aligned to instructional priorities and students' needs while maintaining and advocating for long-term financial sustainability. This topic did have a fair amount of conversation. One of the things, you'll see the bullet items there, but one that was really talked a lot about was a comprehensive technology audit. One of the things that we learned is that we have a strong, we have a technology department that is strong in the materials of technology. We have computers and we have resources within the classroom, but really thinking about what does a technology curriculum look like, What does educational technology look like? And so thinking that one of the things that is necessary is an audit of our technology and what we're using and doing in our classrooms. Implementing a comprehensive digital inclusion initiative, establishing a roadmap for future group, developing a comprehensive facilities master plan. As you all know, we were so fortunate at town meeting to be able to pass the building of Kittredge School, but I think if I hadn't pointed out, I think I pointed out in our presentation at town meeting, we have 2 other schools that are over 60 years old. And we really do need to have a roadmap for what future growth might look like and what we're doing about the other buildings that we have in our district. And then developing a comprehensive AI or artificial intelligence parameters, guidance, guidelines, and acceptable use policy. We've started doing some of that work already. Interestingly, the high school has a club that has been working on that, and they have developed what they believe is, are you in that part of that club? They have developed what they believe is a good acceptable use policy. Ms. Larkham is going to be meeting with them to sort of see how the 2 worlds collide between what the administrators have already started working on and some of the educators with our student group. So that's great. And then focus area 4 is in terms of communication. So maintaining and improve clear, consistent communication and authentic engagement with families, students, staff, and our broader community. Communication regularly about our students' achievements. It's very important to our community that we are sharing what our kids are doing. People seem to really enjoy that. We have a community. I sort of resurrected the Facebook page this year, and families really love seeing academic, sports-minded clubs, any kinds of achievement our students are doing. Architect an integrated multilingual communication system. We have heard that we know that we have families that it is beneficial for them to receive information in their native language, and we have many resources, but we realize that we are not meeting all of the needs of our families. Develop a uniform 2-way communication system with appropriate technology tools. What we heard from families is they want quicker access to information. Emails is not the way to go anymore. Looking for apps, looking for some ways that they might have more quick, direct, and maybe short information so that they can continue to be aware of what's happening in our schools. Transparent budget process and communication. One of the things I think that we had to do through this process is heal a little bit from some of the painful things that we went through as a community, and continuing to talk about transparency and making sure that our budget process is that, and that we're communicating that out to the public. And then develop a caregiver's digital literacy so that our caregivers can understand what digital literacy looks like. And then I'm going to ask Ms. Ando to finish us up on the focus area 5, and then we're happy to take questions and talk about next steps.
Focus Area 5 is about culture and climate, developing and implementing district-wide systems and practices that cultivate a safe, inclusive, and culturally responsive school community by elevating diverse voices, strengthening collaboration, embedding community values into decision-making, and ensuring all students, staff, and families experience belonging and support. And so some initiatives may include our continued work on a multi-tiered system of supports, making sure everybody gets what they need, protocols and systems to support diverse and inclusive populations, and providing strategic talent acquisition and retention initiatives for our employees.
Those are the 5 areas. As Ms. Phil said, Mr. Conrad said that, one of the next steps for us is, once you approve these, is taking them and then developing these action steps out, a timeline, because you can't do them all in the first year, and then who's responsible for each one of these action items. And some of these obviously have financial implications. I'm assuming if we did a technology audit, then there may be some recommendations in terms of things that we need within the district. Thinking about the portrait of a graduate, are there things that we are there courses that we're not providing to our students, or are there supports that we're not providing to our students that we want to make sure? I had a meeting today with our director of guidance and our current SEL director, and I say current only because I'm going to be coming to you about changing her title at some point, not that she's going away anywhere, but really talking about their needs, our needs in a counseling department, and a lot of that sort of work towards some of the work that the high school's doing around a vision of a graduate as well.
And what is our role right now as a school committee, we want to think about, this isn't the final plan. We want a stamp of approval on going in the right direction. We like what the
We are asking.
vision and mission statement say, and we like the buckets and the red things, but the black are ideas that are going to be further developed and brought to us at another point.
And there may be some more.
And there
which
might be
are-
additional ones and some subtractions.
Correct. So, yeah, you're approving the vision, the mission, theory of action. You are approving the 5 focus areas, and then sort of charging us to go forward and to create the action steps, timeline, and people responsible.
Great. Thank you. Members of the committee, questions?
Just, so with these being our 5 focus areas, which sound like tremendously fantastic focus areas, what aren't we focusing on?
Oh, gosh. Not sure if I
Like what
brought
kind
that
of big
slide.
groups, right? But like it's, cause we can't do everything. Yeah, like you said, you can't do everything in the
I
first
would
year. We
s-
can't do everything ever.
I
So
would
what's,
say what these 5, I want to say I believe that these 5 focus areas really really are what we wanted to accomplish. What we aren't probably going to be able to do is some of the,
Every initiative under, like,
underneath part.
yes.
Okay, so that's.
Can you
so
say that
we-
one more time?
we won't be able to, so the idea that I think everything we want to do is captured in these 5 focus areas. I think where the challenge will be is in prioritizing or needing to choose like which initiatives.
Oh, okay.
Underneath.
Thank you. I
So
just
the
didn't
ones
hear.
that we showed here, we voted on them. We had several, and so these are the ones that were the top ones out of that category that the committee voted on. There are other ones that were important but didn't make it into the top
In the black or the red?
in the black.
Got it.
All right, so those 5 focus areas would encompass all of the things that we'd expect in a strategic plan.
Right, we were really
So-
trying to make sure that, we could think about a master's plan, master's facilities plan. We could think about budgeting, we could think about finances. We already know teaching and learning, communication, culture and climate. But we were trying to think of everything and putting them into those 5 buckets.
My other question is, I know back, I think, going back to the list of members, that included input from our teachers and community as well, so there was,
Yep.
so we heard voices and our teaching community
You'll
had the
see,
opportunity.
yep, we had administrators, we had, we had a community member, Christy Hale, Joanna Kerr, who was from the Historical Society, was there, so talking about, she continued to remind us all the time about our community partnerships, and we were already doing some of that work. Jackie Taylor, who is one of our directors of curriculum, has been working with the Historical Society in developing a unit in the humanities world. We had parents or guardians. We had someone from the Finance Committee on the, is he on there? Yep, Donovan was on there. Lots. We had teachers. We had an ESL, multilingual teacher. We had a high school teacher. We had a teacher who was part of our Breathe program at the high school. We had kindergarten teacher. I don't want to leave anybody off.
I just want to kind of see, there was a broad
It's really broad.
slice
Yep.
of the community, certainly including our teachers.
School committee members, so Ms. Sams and Mr. Brown were part of our committee. We had Nicole Smythe, who is our use of facilities person. Sorry.
It's really warm in here. I don't
At
know.
about
Right,
8:30,
right.
the best I can get out of my mouth, this person, who was part of the committee as well. And I will, it's interesting, right? I think that when you're a leader, I've been a principal, I've been assistant superintendent, and superintendent, you're used to being in charge, right? I'm used to being in charge. And it was very interesting to not be in charge. And to have some professionals who are helping to lead, because I am a peacemaker, right? You want to keep the peace. And there were some times that it was a little contentious, but it was really for all the right reasons. I think that just people sort of thought of, like, in Hamilton, this was our one shot to get it right. And people were really passionate about the work. And some of the family members that were part of our group also had a background in education. Some worked in private education that they brought forward, and that was really beneficial. Some worked in finance. What I really appreciated were some were like, listen, I need you to write this so I can understand it, because that's what's important to me. And if you want me to get behind supporting the schools, I need to know in plain English what's important, what are you doing, what's my kid going to learn, and that's what my neighbors want to. And that was really great to hear.
I think the cross-section of the community that was present helps us understand that this is they're not the superintendent's plan, it's the community's plan. And that is important to me. Other questions, queries?
Well, I have one. So you all know that I've done some work with our district's MCAS results, but also with statewide results. And what I've learned from this, this is following individual students, so this is a way that we never have been able to look at MCAS results before. We can look at this class at this time, but we don't know where these kids were 2 years ago. So when you start looking at it longitudinally, the two overwhelming findings that are true in our district but are also true statewide. And the first is that when the pandemic came, and you look at third grade scores, which is the first time we know anything about children, in 2019 they were wherever they were. I can give you exact numbers. And 2 years later in 2021, the third graders who came from comfortable homes had scores, proficiency rates maybe 10% less, and those who came from other kinds of homes, they dropped 30%. And if you look at third grade test results statewide, going on from 2021, the first year after the pandemic, they don't get better at all. And in 2025, the kids that we tested in third grade, these are students who didn't miss any school at all because they came back after school was open. That's when kindergarten, they entered kindergarten after schools were open. And their scores were exactly as low, if not slightly lower.
Mr. Moskovich?
What?
Can you bring around to the strategic plan for us quickly?
I'm coming there.
Great, thank you.
So something has happened, not quite as badly in our district as in the rest of the state, but something has happened. It's as if all of a sudden children in Massachusetts are no longer able to learn to read after the pandemic than as they were before, even if they haven't lost any school at all. And that's a little bit of that in our district, and I see that you've put it in. The other finding is that when you look at students after the pandemic, so if you look, and this is definitely true for us and it's true for the district as a whole, the students who took the last third grade test before, of course their scores when they were in fifth grade fell quite a bit. Then they were back in school in fifth grade, and over the next 3 years, while they were in school, they lost as much ground as they had lost during the 2 years that they weren't in school. And I don't fully understand what went wrong. But what's clear is that in Massachusetts as a whole, and in North Andover, we're not, if a child can't read at third grade, we just have not been successful in figuring out how to make that up. Not statewide and not in the district. And I see no mention of that here.
I do.
Sorry, but I don't see that there's no acknowledgement that there's this huge problem, that we have way more students coming into fourth grade who can't read than we did before, and they just keep falling farther behind. And I would like some discussion about, I mean, I don't know the answer, but I'd like some discussion about how did this happen and what do we need to do about it. I understand that the things that we are doing will help, like HQIM. I'm not convinced that they're enough. But I think.
So I would say
given the-
that
Sorry, I'll
falls.
just finish the sentence, then I'll stop. But I think given the size of the problem, that needs to be part of this plan, an acknowledgement of the problem, and here's how we're going to address it.
Right, and I would say that that falls under focus area 1, teaching and learning. Yeah, we're right there, great. Really accelerating our early literacy outcomes, doing a professional development roadmap, our pre-K to 12 instructional model with high quality instructional materials, our assessment framework. Those are all those areas. I mean, we could point to a variety of areas where we are not doing well. I think that our strategic plan is not about calling out our weaknesses. I think the work that we did to get to these focus areas address the weaknesses. This committee had access to all of the MCAS scores. This committee had access to all of other kinds of assessment that we have on students, and that is what led them to develop this objective and led them to put these objectives down. I think that you have a very narrow focus, which I don't disagree with you, but I do think that fleshes out through here. I think I want to share too, you made the statement that third grade is the first time we know anything about children. I don't think that's correct.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean you, I meant the state.
I understand.
The only time
It's the first time that perhaps the state takes recognition of knowing anything about the student, but it's not the first time that Massachusetts schools know anything about students. We have lots of other measures that are in place. And I agree with you. You know that I have been concerned about our MCAS scores. You know that one of the reasons, I say it all the time, one of the reasons why I applied for the position in North Andover is because I was baffled. Why, when we have really talented educators and we have students who we have seen here this evening, and in other times, multiple times we brought students forward who are capable students, why it didn't seem to be matching what I had seen on standardized testing, and wanting to be able to dive into that in the role of Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning. That said, I also want to recognize that we're in a little quandary with MCAS, I'll be honest with you. Through my own listening sessions this year, I've had some parents come forward and say, why are my child still taking the MCAS? The state got rid of it. And it's an interesting question. If that's the way our community is feeling, that MCAS doesn't exist anymore, then there's a shift in, we need to help people understand. And what I've always explained is that the state didn't get rid of MCAS. We no longer are saying that MCAS is the determination for graduation or passing that, but the state still is requiring us to take MCAS, and it's still a determination in terms of our accountability and the progress that we're making. I think there's probably a responsibility for the districts to relay that to our folks so that they understand. And I can't say this with certainty, but I can say that I think that sometimes, well, two things. One, I think that we all know that pre-pandemic, many of the school districts in Massachusetts were largely focused on a balanced literacy approach and had not adopted the science of reading. I think one of the things that we learned during the pandemic, and I will tell you, I mean, I say to people, you can go to Salem State University and you can take out my thesis book on the balanced literacy approach and why I think it's the best thing to do, right? So I wrote that. I have a book that's published with my name on it that's in a library at Salem State. I doubt many people are referencing it in their graduate studies now. And I can stand behind some of the practices in balanced literacy, but what I learned in the pandemic is it is very teacher focused, and it does not meet the needs of all learners, and it didn't necessarily have an access point. So since the pandemic, we have shifted to science of reading and high quality instructional materials, but that also has been a shift in our teaching across Massachusetts. You will see this in many school districts. I think North Andover has been in the forefront, but we also, I will say, North Andover, and this is where we come in times of money, and we've talked about this before, we need to invest in some literacy instruction in our district in terms of reading teachers. I think this is what you're going to see that will come out of an assessment framework, will come out of early literacy outcomes. We need to invest in special education. We need to, it's why you as a committee endorsed an assistant principal at the ABECC, because we talked about the early literacy initiatives that we're trying to work on. So it's a very long-winded answer to your question, but I do believe it is here in this plan, and I do believe that will come out. I think that I have a very narrow focus, because that's what your research is focused on. And if we were to have a very narrow focus on everything in a strategic plan, it would be a strategic plan that does not come to life and sits on a shelf and is in a binder and doesn't get done, is my personal opinion.
If I understand it correctly, Madam Superintendent, you looked at all the available data and the MCAS things and the surveys and all that, and that's helped you develop the vision and then the buckets of work that you want to do. And then the next step would be for you to then work on the list of individual initiatives underneath there, and that will include specifics on how to address some of those things that Mr. Muscovich is
I don't
raising.
disagree. We have a problem, and we know that we have a problem. And, we also are partnering with the state with the Accelerated Achievement Academy. So those are very much on our mind. And it's why we've partnered with the Hill for Literacy. It's why every one of our first grade teachers has been part of the Science of Reading course that we have provided for them. It does take time. It does take time to see growth. And I can't speak for other districts, but I can speak for North Andover. We have gone through something traumatic. And when you go through traumatic experiences where you have a very quick, rapid change in leadership, and you have a financial mess, it disrupts the human flow, and it has caused our district to be in turmoil, and we are righting the ship right now, and I think that this year is the first year where we can see some consistency. I hope I can show that in a little while when I get to my goals, and I have every expectation that our achievement scores will rise.
Thank you. Can I ask a silly question?
You can ask any question.
Mahek?
Oh, yay, Mahek.
Or someone else? What's the difference between a mission and a vision?
Ooh.
Between a what and a what? Sorry.
A mission statement and a vision statement. Because they seem like the same thing to me, and I think a lot, and going back to what you said, like we put this in plain English, like, why do we need both? Like, what are that? Like, you explained them, but I still don't get it.
So, long story short, the vision is more concise. It's
Okay.
just a shorter version. And the vision statement is kind of guiding us to what we want to achieve, whereas a mission statement is what we want to get to in a few years' time. So that's why the vision statement is empowered, engaged, resilient learners. We are already empowered, we are already engaged, and we want to continue that. Whereas the mission statement's where we want to be. We want to empower students to reach their full academic and outside, however far they can get. And that's the long story short. Vision is more concise, mission is a little broader.
Well done.
You guys want to hire her?
Without a doubt.
We might need to. Yeah.
In the committee, it was great.
And I'm going to tell you, this was probably
Did you ask the same question?
no. This is a PTSD piece.
Sorry.
Going on because,
You're like angry at me now.
that was a real spirited conversation and debate about which one are we doing first, why are we doing one over the other, and the group actually ended up doing. Now I'm like so turned around. I forget which one was supposed to be first. We did the opposite one first.
So Mr. Lee, who led that conversation, thinks about it this way. The mission, let me start with the vision. The vision is where you're going. And the mission, thinking about it on a train track, are the tracks on the train moving towards the vision. You're moving towards. And if you achieve that aspirational piece, you'll move again forward. And these ideas of the mission are what continue to keep you on track. And probably don't change, but tell everybody, this is where we're going and this is how we're going to do it. And Ed was great at that. And we had a great conversation about it, and we did do it backwards a little bit.
As we hear a train go
Train
by
was
outside.
Did you cue that?
I did. I knew it was coming, so I.
I know. I'm sorry, I was remiss in mentioning Ed Lee, who couldn't be here tonight, who's the
Yep.
other
Yep.
consultant that worked with us.
Thank you. That's partly for me, but also I think other people would be like, wait, what's going on there? Why do we need both? I personally, I think I agree with, or I appreciate the buckets of work or the bit larger focus areas, the foci that you've come up with, and I look forward to seeing what some of the more individual initiatives and action steps will be. And in particular, theory of action, it took you 30 seconds to read, but like some real deep stuff that needs to be unpacked there, and I am particularly happy or heartwarmed with the deep connection to the community.
Thanks.
I like that part. I think that's a really good thing for us in the community.
If I can add two things to what you just said. So just so you know that what you're looking at right now are the bones of what's going to come. Once you have approved it and Pam has finalized it, it will go to our graphic designer, who will take your community visually and incorporate it into the plan. So when you get the plan back in its final form, it will be beautiful, and it will really represent North Andover in all of those ways. So I just want to give you a sense of that. That's to come as well.
Fantastic. Anything else from the committee? So our next steps would be, well, let me go back to what Mr. Brown emailed me, that he would like me to stay on his behalf. I was on the strategic planning subcommittee, so very familiar with that work and supportive of it. I'll make sure. Was not much. We get to think about all this, ask some questions of you over the next week or so, again by Tuesday the 2nd, to get some clarity back, and then we'll vote to, is that this next time, or are
At
we?
the next time, we would like you to vote on the vision, the mission, the theory of action,
Right.
and the 5 focus areas for development.
Is that clear to everybody?
Is this one vote or several votes?
One vote.
One vote on the entire package. Yep. And it's like cement, not hard in stone yet, like there will be more stuff added to it.
Correct, and then we'll come back with the action, with all of the action steps fleshed out, the timeline for when that would be achieved, and then who the responsible parties for that.
And when do you think you would come back with that information?
I think that will be some work at our summer retreat this year, so that would be the beginning of the fall.
Perfect. Sound good, everyone?
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. I want to thank
thank
you
you.
for being here.
We're pretty much going to send it home, and Mihek is going to write the rest of it.
And I want to thank
She'll
Teaching
join
Learning
us in the
Alliance for
planning,
partnering
yep.
with us and letting us be a little creative. I think that, I don't know, we hope we weren't your most challenging group that you've ever worked with.
Not even close.
Right.
Not even close.
And to go back a little bit to what Mr. Muskovich was saying, although I understand the specificity of what you're talking about, I want to assure you that we brought the urgency of how badly we need to improve academically to the table. Like, and it was live and well, and my friends are nodding, well, like, that the idea that, like, we aren't where we want to be, and we want to improve so much, like, very much that sentiment is here. And we will absolutely take that feedback going forward as we flesh out the plan itself.
So, I mean, you and I have had some discussions about this. I mean, it's nothing that you recommend that I don't think's a good idea. So it's not, and I don't think that I only look at it narrowly. I see lots of good stuff here. But I'm so I know that you're working on this, and as I said, and doing a lot of things that are very helpful. I just feel uncomfortable without an acknowledgement that there is this real problem, that lots of students are very well served in this district, but some aren't. And there's something, it's not unique to us. There's something that isn't happening that, and I don't understand. I really don't understand how kids came back from the pandemic and then lost ground for 3 years, everywhere in the state. But if we don't understand what it is, we can't be sure we've addressed it.
Right. I think there's an opportunity a few places. So there's an obvious place in Focus Area 1, but there's also a place in Focus Area 5 about establishing a unified multi-tiered system of support. And with your feedback, we could go back and specifically think about a post-pandemic plan or dig deeper into what you're talking about in order to, you know, how does this impact our students who are arriving in kindergarten or up in 8th grade, as we've talked about. And so I feel like there's a couple opportunities. I'm really going to take your feedback and go forward, that I feel like this might be a great opportunity to establish something very specific for kids who are older that we know, you know, lost ground post-pandemic. Like, I think there's absolutely room for that.
I think maybe it didn't come across, but my sense is that on the first half of this, getting to grade 3, we do better than most districts.
And DESE has recognized that. That is why
Well-
DESE has opened up the Accelerated Achievement Partnership. They are saying that there are some districts and some schools within districts who have not achieved at the rate that they want to see post-pandemic. They originally had Accelerated Academy that everybody could participate in, and now they're really narrowing that focus. And North Andover was selected as not a district to participate in Accelerated Achievement Partnership, but we have a school within our district that was selected to participate in that partnership. And that, I think, will only help us grow that school, but also obviously help us grow in other ways too.
So I didn't get to finish what I was going to say, which is I'm concerned that when we go ask for an override, there's an unfortunate correlation that, generally speaking, the students who fall behind, on the whole, on average, their parents are less politically active. So we're going to have a real problem getting political support.
I
I'm
think
going to move us, I understand what you're saying, Ms. Moskowitz, but it's also, we're 55 minutes after our, later than we want it to be, so I'm going to move us on. I think that's.
Well,
stuff
I
to
can finish very quickly. I was just saying that I think that this report is going to be central to the discussion next
Yes.
year about, and I'm just concerned, there's not a criticism of anybody, but it's going to be awkward because we're going to be talking about a problem that many of the most politically active parents don't see. That's
I
the
think
only
they
point
see
I
it.
want to make.
I think they see it.
Yeah.
I would say I feel that our politically active parents see that there are
I don't
holes
know if
in
we
our
have the
system.
evidence to say that, but, Superintendent, thank you all.
Thank you
TLA
so
and
much.
HAC.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
You're not going to do your regular update today.
I am
It's
not.
just going to be superintendent goals update, because then we're going to fill out the paperwork for your evaluation.
Yes.
So this is a different superintendent's update.
A little different tonight. Thank you for entertaining that. So in your packet, there's a couple of things that that are for you as a school committee. I did write an executive summary on the end of the year progress that may be helpful for you when you are doing the evaluation from DESE. That's for your purview. And then I just also included in your packet a reminder of what my superintendent goals were that you voted on in September as well. Okay, so here we are. Tonight, I'm sharing my update of my end-of-the-year supplemental goals and reflecting on the work that was completed throughout the 2005-2006 school year. As I thought about how I wanted to present tonight, I realized this presentation is really less for me about checking the boxes and more about systems, relationships, and the momentum that we've built over the course of the year. These slides are organized so that you'll see there are some white slides, and those were just going to show you the benchmark, the mid-year benchmarks that I'd already talked to you about, progress, and then there are some red slides that will follow them, and that's really the work that has ended or sort of will be at the end or the conclusion of this year. As I look back, I'm really proud of the forward progress we've made in curriculum. We have work to do, I know that, but we have made progress in curriculum and instruction, and our significant work around budgeting, financial transparency. They both represent really long-term investments in our district and supporting our students. So this is just a reminder. On this slide, these are just the DESE standards that might be helpful for you when you are filling out the evaluation, just as a reminder of which standards went with which goal, and so that you can just know that you don't have to do them all, because that rubric can be slightly overwhelming at times.
This is very helpful. Thank you.
Great, you're welcome. So in terms of professional practice, just a reminder, in mid-year, my professional practice goal really focused on strengthening my leadership through professional learning and relationship building. As a new superintendent in North Andover, I engaged in the Massachusetts New School Superintendent Induction Program. I have been a member of Leading Now, which is a national organization for superintendents, and I attended the Merrimack Valley Superintendent Association meetings. Through that, I've also been the Merrimack Valley representative on the READY Committee, which is focused on equity and inclusion and diversity. These experiences have really provided practical support around communication, budgeting, legal issues, leadership, and navigating challenges unique to my role. The mid-year work centered around learning, reflecting, and beginning to apply those lessons through communication, things like the nightly news. I have made some videos, and I've increased my engagement with the opportunity. Go to the next slide. So by the end of the year, the goal has evolved from the participation into really application. The most important lesson I learned this year in leadership is that leadership is really deeply rooted in relationships. Strong schools are built on trust, on communication, and on visibility. Throughout the year, I expanded my opportunities for engagement through newsletters, as I said, videos, presentations, community outreach, and frequent communication with staff and families. As you see, I did both superintendent office hours and school listening tours. School listening tours were really beneficial to me this year. I did them last year, and they were not well attended. And this year, I had lots of participation from staff members, and it was really fantastic to be able to hear and then to be able to take some of that feedback to the leaders of those buildings. The work reflects not only communication products, but an intentional effort to strengthen relationships across school buildings. I used feedback gathered throughout the year to help shape future planning and decision-making. The next slide. So the next slide is the student learning. My student learning goal focused on supporting the implementation of high-quality instructional materials across the district. At the midpoint of the year, much of the work centered around building structures to support implementation, professional learning, coaching, classroom visits, and gathering data. We also had our school leaders present directly to you this year, to the school committee, regarding student learning data and instructional progress that happened in their schools. Really, this level of shared ownership was centered around teaching and learning, and I think that's extremely important. Sort of moving to the end of the year in the student learning goal, it's probably where I feel the greatest sense of pride. Curriculum work can sometimes feel slow because implementation occurs over several years, so we were just talking about that. But this year, I think, really represented some very meaningful forward movement. We continued the implementation of Wit and Wisdom and Foundations. We launched middle school ELA materials. We implemented Eureka Squared, mathematics. We expanded investigating history, and we adopted additional materials, including NGEMS, hopefully Open SIAD, and hopefully Project Lead the Way. For the first time in several years, I really believe that we have a stronger pre-K to 12 instructional cohesion that's starting to emerge, and we are moving from isolated initiatives to coherent systems. I also want to share that our principals and district leaders conducted over 200 classroom observations and learning walks to collect information about high-quality instructional materials, and we did this to create greater consistency in the way that we give feedback and support our teachers. All school leaders presented directly to the school committee regarding their student learning data and instructional practice. There is work ahead, but we are really building those strong foundations. This slide shows you our curriculum roadmap. It tells a story visually. This work is not just about purchasing programs. It's about really being intentional, studying, selecting, launching, implementing, and monitoring curriculum over time. This roadmap demonstrates that implementation is a process and it is not an event. We now have multiple initiatives moving through different stages, and importantly, we are building the structures to support them successfully. You'll see here where we are in launch and prepare. You'll see where we're still working and investigating and selecting what we've launched and the areas that we're implementing and monitoring. What's really interesting, though, if you look at the ones in learning, prepare, and investigate and select that are highlighted in red, that's really the work we have been doing this year. Great work has been happening in this district by great people. The next goal was on finance and budgeting. My finance and budgeting goals centered on transparency, forecasting, and strengthening financial communication. Mid-year, we had established a consistent pattern of monthly reporting and ongoing collaboration with our town partners. I pursued some additional professional learning and educational finance. If you remember, I received, Kristen and I went to Georgetown University and received a certificate in educational finance. I participated in the procurement workshop and in 30B through the, I'm not going to think about it, it's the Attorney General's office. And I recognize that really in my role as a leader, school finance, and knowing school finance at a deeper level is only going to help strengthen my decision-making and communication. At the end, towards the end of the year, the goal represents another area where I feel significant pride. Throughout the year, we maintained consistent budgeting, reporting, and strengthening our transparency, with both the school committee and town partners. I think this is one of the areas that needed a little bit of improvement even from last year. I think you'll remember we did a good job sharing our budget updates last year, but not a great job. There were some months that we missed, especially as we went through a hard budget season. This year I'm really proud of the fact that we have been very consistent about our budget presentations, meeting with the town, and providing that work to both town and school. Together, we presented a budget that preserved essential services this year. We maintained our programming. We have supported our special education students. We've reduced some of our transportation challenges, and we've aligned our resources with district priorities. The district remains on track financially, and our reporting practices have become structured and more productive. Budget work can sometimes happen quietly in the background, but strong financial systems really create stability and support in everything we do. And I really feel that this year. Having the stability of a strong financial team and that sense of assurance that we are maintaining our budget really does allow the other work to happen because of that, and it's really important. Again, strategic planning, where am I now? Slide 9. My final goal focused on strategic planning. At the midpoint, the work really centered on listening. We conducted the surveys, we held focus groups, we engaged stakeholders, and we worked with Teaching and Learning Alliance to begin identifying themes that emerged. And then towards the end of the year, the work represents one of the most exciting opportunities for our district. Our strategic plan brought together students, staff, families, community members, municipal partners, and leaders around a shared vision for our future. I think this next number is really astounding. We had nearly 700 people that participated in either a survey or a focus group as part of the strategic plan. What emerged consistently was pride in our schools, appreciation for our educators, and a desire for greater coherence and communication. Hopefully tonight's presentation of the focus areas reflects the beginning of that work and not the end. The plan provided a framework, but the next step will be translating those priorities into action in a plan that moves our work forward. As I reflect overall, I feel grateful. Grateful for the partnership of the school committee, of the leadership team, of staff, of families, of town partners, and of the community. Education is incremental work. Progress rarely happens through one big moment. It happens through many thoughtful decisions over time. This year, we strengthened our instructional systems, improved communication, built financial stability, and created a roadmap for the future. I am proud of the progress we have made and excited for where North Andover Public Schools is headed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The process from here will be that we get to examine all the stuff. Michelle will send us the required paperwork that we fill out, and then we get to do it in the superintendent's official evaluation next time. She will please do the paperwork, the Google form that Michelle sends sooner than later, because she then has to take it and tabulate and prepare that stuff for us to then review publicly. So we answer all those questions, and then she combines it all for us to then present. So that one, please don't wait till June 2nd, but try and get it done maybe the Friday before that. So
We've done this, just what you said, last year, right?
Yep.
And is your thought to do it the same way that are we gonna do it separately together? What's your thought?
we all fill out the paperwork in advance, and then we'll have an opportunity, that then gets compiled by Michelle and will be part of our discussion next time, but then we'll have an opportunity for each of us to talk or give some remarks during our next meeting as well.
So,
She'll send us the form, we fill it out.
right, no, that's fine. This is sort of, this is not a criticism of, just thinking about it. is it, in a way, it would make more sense to do it in the fall because there's no end-of-year data.
Yep, but DESI requires us to do it in the spring.
With its infinite wisdom.
Yep, so that's the way it is. I think what we can do in the future is,
No, I mean, you have to do what you have to do.
no, I also think that we do more than we actually have to, and I think one of the things we should do next year is narrow the scope of the actual rubric we fill out for the superintendent and our own benefit. We only need to choose a few focus areas, and I think we
haven't
narrow.
Yeah.
That's why I said what
Well,
the
that's-
superintendent said was so helpful.
That's why this is so helpful.
Yes, exactly.
so you
right.
can know
So
which
aren't-
ones you
aren't-
can
aren't
skip.
you already moving in the right
Yes,
direction?
I think we have more work to do there.
No, but I mean, let's recognize that,
Yep.
that we are moving in
We
that
are.
direction.
So
Both you and the superintendent.
Michelle will send out the form, we fill it out, she compiles it. That will be then discussed openly at the next meeting, and if you have some other remarks or a summative statement that you would like to prepare in advance, that will also be part of it. Does that sound good for everyone? I will, in particular, I was thinking as Ms. Larcombe was presenting, we have done a lot of HQIM work this year. It's like, wow.
And, I mean, they've all been really very exciting presentations,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Done very good there.
Very impressive. Is there one more slide? Did I throw it in or not? Yeah, I just wanted to remind you that next week, we have the Educator Hall of Fame will still be on your agenda next week. You will receive your May budget update. Oh, sorry, zip my mouth. You'll do your evaluation, and then you have the second read of student activities account, your reorg, and then June 18th if needed. I have gotten some feedback
Yep.
that people like seeing this slide, that's why I threw it in there.
Oh, thank you. And we're going to hold June 18th still, just in case we need it. Thank you, Superintendent Lathrop.
You're welcome.
School committee chair updates. Negotiations update. We met with administrative assistants Monday. We have a meeting on
June 10th?
June 10th, maybe. Hopefully that's going to be our, knock on wood, last meeting. We're responding to some things, proposals of theirs via letter tomorrow, or yes, tomorrow, so that we don't have to meet to share our responses, and hopefully we have one more meeting.
Is this the group where we're now doing this in public?
No,
Or
this
is
is
the
the
other group?
It's the
administrative assistants.
Speaking of in public, though, you guys have not met because on Wednesday, May 27th, which is next Wednesday,
Our next meeting.
is the open negotiations meeting with the North Andover teaching assistants. That'll be here at 5 p.m. Everyone is welcome to come watch in person or online or on cable. All those things are available. Summer retreat dates.
Any more dates?
No, there aren't any because none of them worked. So there's one date. Pam did fill out the thing. We are all available on July 20th, so we could meet that day for a summer retreat, or we don't have to have a summer retreat. We can do a fall. We can have a retreat at any point. It might be best that we do this in the fall.
July 20th was on mine, because I don't think I'm available July 20th.
So we can't.
I don't think July was on, was that?
From the previous one, I think that.
Everyone was available except for.
Everyone except me is
Then never
available,
mind.
sorry.
Then I'm going to make the decision that we are not going to have a summer retreat, but we should look forward to having an early fall retreat where there's better synchronization of calendars, because there's no dates that really work for us all to have that conversation.
Did we look at all did we look at the whole summer?
We did. There's nothing nothing came close with the second set of dates. My July is supremely busy. I think Mr. Moskovich's August is supremely busy. It's just the way it is.
We all take vacations, and sometimes of a couple of weeks, and you get 7 or 8 people who each take a week or two.
It's just
I mean,
there
I just
wasn't
didn't
a
know we
limit.
looked at the whole summer. So
We did.
That was my only question.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
no, we did.
So we will do an early fall retreat instead, and I think that will be okay.
We should probably try to book that date sooner rather than later, because given our schedules, we'll block up.
Miss Cormier, Vice Chair, who's in charge of Educator Hall of Fame.
Yes. So I'm pleased in the school committee members, you all have an additional packet that got handed out earlier. So there you go. That one can be yours. So earlier today, the North Andover School Committee Educator Hall of Fame Selection Committee had the honor of meeting and reviewing the submissions that we got from our community about to recognize outstanding educators within North Andover. The criteria that we look at is that the nominee needs to be a retired from full-time pre-K to 12 teaching or administration for at least 5 years, so someone who's been out of the district for retired for 5 years, and that they spent the majority of their professional career as a teacher in North Andover Public School System, typically over 20 years, recognized as a professional who consistently set very high standards and expectations and was effective in encouraging students to achieve those standards and expectations. And that this person would also be remembered by students as a teacher or administrator that led them to achieve even more than they thought possible. Provided leadership in raising academic standards either across the district at the school level or in the specialty area, and was an excellent role model for students and staff with their character, dedication, and hard work. So even with that extremely high bar, we were very fortunate to have one nominee that we would like to bring forward to the committee. That nominee, it was an educator in North Andover for over 35 years. Miss Nancy Jukins, spent her career both in the classroom as well as a senior administrator in North Andover, and as evidenced by the nominations, the 3 different formal nominations from a breadth of people that shows her impact to the community. You know, she truly left a legacy of mentorship and professional integrity that helped to influence the district's pedagogical and operational standards. So I think we have one very tremendous candidate. The selection committee was able to talk to Ms. Jukins today, and she was very excited and pleased at the thought to, one, be remembered by some incredible colleagues that she had over time. So that was kind of a special moment to be able to help her connect back to those people and the impact that she brought to them. So before us is, like as I said, you have the packet of the nominations, letters that came through, and then we wait.
Yeah, so the process now is thank you to you and the rest of the committee, Mr. Landry and I forget the other members. There's a
Mr. Brown was school
there.
committee. Yeah, he called in as he was on the ferry headed to his son's wedding.
A representative from NADA always is on the committee, and we'll get the full list of who was there. But they always do some great work. So you called Ms. Jukins today, and she was, I imagine, elated.
Yes.
We get to review and think about it for the next 2 weeks. We will, so she's been nominated. This is the first read of that. We will vote on her induction next time on June 4th. I would love to invite anyone who had Ms. Jukins as a teacher or a mentor or a principal to please, you're welcome to come on June 4th and tell us a little bit about why she was so worthy of this honor. I'm sure she is, but I'd love to hear the things and to celebrate her in that capacity, especially if Ms. Dow, Ms. O'Loughlin, or Mr. Binkney are available. That would be wonderful. They could come and say why.
There is a nomination. I did receive another one. I don't know if I sent it off to Mr. Landry for Ms. Jukins.
Another letter?
Another letter.
Okay.
So I will make sure that
Perfect.
I
fantastic.
secure that and send that to him.
But congratulations to Ms. Jukins for being nominated, and we will take this up in due course.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Cormier and Mr. Brown and the rest of the committee for doing the work. All righty. A couple of other things. We will have our official budget update for May at the June 4th meeting. The regularly scheduled meeting with the town finance people is on May 27th, and Ms. Dowd will prepare the memo after that, and she'll present it to us first on June 4th, and then forward it as such.
We'll send it to you after we meet with the town, so you'll have it then, but so you'll have it.
She likes to present to us before she sends it to them.
Yes.
So that will happen next time. And then we did get a letter from Ms. Darman and the NADA president and their board about just some action about retirement plus teachers. Please take a look at that and consider taking action on your own. Some people didn't have the opportunity as teachers 20-something years ago to participate in that, and there's a bill before the legislature to get them that opportunity. So read that and take action if you would like.
She's not asking for us to act as a board?
I think we don't have time to take action as a board because we'd have to write something and approve it, and I believe that it would be better to have individual action happen sooner because it's the budget.
It's happening, so the retirement plus bill is in front of the powers that be now.
Yeah.
So there's a big push on social media to do it yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Call your state people.
It's in the state budget, is it?
Yeah.
So it just is right. The House has already acted on its budget. The Senate would be acting in June.
Right.
May,
So they want us to do it quicker than we would be able to take official action as a committee. So that's why we're not going to take official action as a committee. But please do what you will. Awesome. New business, student activities accounts. Superintendent?
Before you tonight is the student activity account. We're looking for approval of the FY27 student activity accounts. Just as a reminder, student activity accounts must be approved by the school committee each year. The attached list reflects the existing student activity accounts and each account's current status. We have confirmed with the person responsible for each account that shows a zero balance that these accounts are still needed.
Say that last sentence again.
So you will see there are some accounts that have a zero balance, and so we did confirm with the person that oversees that even though it has a zero balance, they still would like you to keep the account on the books.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
And not close it.
Are any being closed this year?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. The class of 2023 still needs their 2 pennies. I love it.
So the class of 2024 has a zero account.
Thank you. We will. That's a thing we do every year, but we will vote on that next time as well. If you have any questions, please reach out to the superintendent for that. Wellness policy. Superintendent.
Yes, as you remember last week, Ms. Barzak, our Director of Nursing, she shared with you that we would be bringing forward the wellness policy. When we had our program review for food services, there were 2 recommendations that needed to be part of our wellness policy in order for our food services to pass. Those 2 items have been added on the second page in red. That should say portable, not potable.
No, it's potable.
Oh, is it potable?
Potable, drinkable.
Oh, okay, potable. Very good, thank you. Water will be available to all students throughout the day, and that meal modifications will be provided to students who can't eat the menu meal for religious or medical reasons.
Probably potable water in some cases will be portable.
Yes.
Right. Portable.
So those would be the 2 additions to the wellness policy.
Great. Again, take a review. This is our first read. If you have questions, please reach out to the reach out to the superintendent via Michelle, and they'll forward the questions to the correct person.
Yes.
But those seem like some easy fixes. And Ms. Barzak told us about that last time.
She did tell you about that last time,
Great.
yes.
Alrighty. Continuing business. We have a couple votes. Appointment of school physician. The administration is requesting that we reappoint Dr. Chan to serve as school physician consultant for fiscal year 27 at the annual cost of $9,000. We did the official first read last time. He's been with us for many, many years and allows us to do the work we need to do in our health services. So, with that,
I move that we appoint Dr. Chan as the school physician for the 26-27 school year.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Thank you, Dr. Chan.
Thank you very much for willing to continue to work with us. At not a bad rate.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Moskowitz, yes? Was that a yes, sir? Ms. Sams?
Yes.
And Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, and although it's not official, Mr. Brown did say he would have voted in favor of Dr. Chan. So 4-0, it passes. Thank you. Moving on to school choice. We had our public hearing before. The administration is recommending that we do not participate in school choice this year in terms of having students come to North Andover public schools. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation not to participate.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. Any further discussion? We've met all of our obligations. We had our public hearing. So Mr. Moskovich, Mrs. Sams?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes in adopting the superintendent's recommendation.
Great.
That there will
Yes,
be
not
no
that-
school choice.
Yes to the no.
When they get it right.
Yes to the
We should have rephrased that in the night.
It's okay.
We fell victim to the classic blunder of all time. Last week you came before us to share some ideas about Atkinson and Thompson and a need to redistrict. You shared the idea with us. You were going to then
Correct.
inform the families
Yes.
and bring it back to us.
There were 12 families. We sent a letter to them. I shared the letter that, in your packet, that we sent to the 12 families, giving them an opportunity to reach out to us or to come to tonight's meeting if they had any concerns. We did not hear any. And what I did hear were people were happy. There were a couple of families that, they
Worked
have
out for
neighbors,
them.
that go to Thompson, and so they were pleased that they were going to be able to, attend with them. And so, I don't see any, concerns. You did ask for a map. It is a little bit hard to give you a map. What I did ask Lucy to do is try to sort of show you
Oh, come on now.
what that looks like. I only have one here, but basically the pink are the areas that will be going to Thompson. So over here is Thompson and over here is Atkinson. So these are the streets. But some of the streets affected are like Chickering Road, East Water Street, Elm Street, some parts of Pleasant Street, Walker Road, and Water Street.
And these are all roads that are very much on the border of the two.
Yes.
Right
So,
in
like-
between.
Yes. It is one of those issues when you have, like, all of our schools are sort of very, these schools here, like Atkinson, Thompson,
They look so close.
Kittredge at the time, they're kind of very close together.
So what are the red lines? Are
The pink are the areas that would have gone to Atkinson, but now we're going to go to Thompson.
They've highlighted the roads are
oh,
changing.
you mean inside the pink?
Yes,
Or
those are
just the
roads.
street?
No, just the road itself is
The road
highlighted.
itself is highlighted.
Okay.
So they would have gone to the school over here, but now they're gonna go to the school over here.
And they're all fine with it?
I had heard no objections, and if they do have any objections, they can, apply for out-of-area school through the assistant
Mhm.
superintendent's office.
They can apply for out-of-neighborhood request.
Thank you.
Yep.
I don't know. I can't
That's okay, it's
remember
late.
what that's called.
It's midnight. It's okay.
But this will permanently redistrict those streets. If
Yeah.
you vote to do that, you're changing that. Lucy will change that. So this is a permanent redistricting of those streets.
It's not a temporary reassignment, it's a redistricting of those streets.
Until
to-
we open Kittredge, and then
And
we
then
will
it's-
have to
we're
do
Then
doing
we'll
this
do a
anyway.
whole,
Correct.
and we're
So-
not gonna think about that now.
Yeah, but I mean, that's probably 2 years away, right? But we'll have to start thinking about
Yes.
it 3 years before it's
Yep.
done, but that conversation isn't that far away
No,
anymore.
it's just not.
It's not.
Not tonight.
It's not tonight, please.
Okay.
So just to review, these are kids that are currently at the ABECC who will be going into first grade at Thompson, so,
Yes.
and there's
and-
12 kids that were impacted that met the very strict criteria that you established to even out class sizes.
Correct. The criteria was that they didn't have a sibling at Atkinson School, that they were not impacted, their family had not been impacted last year through the Kittredge redistricting, and it gives us a more balanced class size.
Do we know how many, if there's students that are going into ABECC, that will be affected when they go into first grade?
I don't know, but I'm sure there are. I'm not sure, but I would assume there may be. Yeah. And there are a couple, in that little area, there are a couple, like there's this, like part of the street where they had students already at Atkinson, so we did not choose those
Yeah.
families.
Like at the other end of Pleasant Street, I
Correct.
know there are some, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. So, with that, thank you for the map.
Mhm.
The chair will entertain a motion.
Well, we don't have public comment?
No, we have to vote on this.
Oh,
You have to vote on this
It's
before you can
midnight.
close.
It's
Okay, so I did not label it as vote because we did have a first read last time. I wasn't sure what if we would have a lot of public feedback that we then need to consider and hear more about and then potentially vote next time. But since we have not had public feedback, they've all been informed. There's only been positives. I feel comfortable that we've done the 2 reads, that we can do a vote right now.
And I didn't get any email,
didn't get
or if
any
you, did
email.
anybody hear anything? No.
Nope.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Thank you for proactively looking at this, Superintendent Luther.
Thank you. You're welcome. And thank you to Kara again, and Lucy.
I don't know like
And
how they
Kristen.
did,
Quite a puzzle.
how they
Yeah.
figured that out that's some science.
Amazing.
And I know the Thompson community will welcome them.
They will.
Be excited.
Yeah, and
And,
we did have some opportunity, to talk to the Thompson, Mr. Raymond talked to the Thompson first grade teachers, so that they were aware that nobody would have to shift, and that we would be accepting a few new students.
And it's we should there might have been some kids who were expecting to go to Atkinson, and teachers at the ABCC have been talking about that, and that might be different for them now, but
Yep, Ms. Goddard will make sure that that she shares that with her staff as well. She has.
and again, he's not here to vote, but Mr. Brown said Pam's proposal is a good idea, taking advantage of the unique situation, being able to identify him as from a bordering neighborhood, not having already been moved from Kittredge, and not having current older siblings at Atkinson. So
Thank you,
he
Mr.
was in
Brown.
favor. Alrighty. Mr. Moskowitz.
Yes.
Mrs. Sams.
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier.
Yes.
The chair votes yes, so that passes 4-0. Public comment.
No public.
Member comment.
I don't have a comment, but a question. It seems to me that in past years, I would come to this meeting and there would be an envelope urging me to go to the Memorial Day parade and telling me where and when. But
We
it
got
isn't
those
here.
invitations.
They were
I
in
got
the
one
mail.
mailed
I
to
got
my
it in the mail.
house.
In the
I
mail.
got mine in the mail.
I got mine in the mail.
Yeah.
Oh,
It is at, it's Monday at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
At the town common. You can
Just
gather
show
there.
up at
Just
10
show
o'clock.
up.
Yep, and you
Yep.
can walk alongside, or you can just go to the Ridgewood Cemetery and participate
No,
out there, if you want to walk.
I thought it was nice to walk and it
Yeah.
was worth going to the ceremony.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to doing it again.
But a good reminder that that's happening.
Yeah,
on
Yes.
Monday.
Sorry?
Good reminder that that's happening. on
Monday, 10
Family's
o'clock,
gonna
town
come.
common.
And if it's raining, do they do it? I don't know.
I don't know.
That information is available somewhere. Check out the town website.
All right, just one real quick.
Oh,
So,
yes, sorry.
SOS, graduation night. It is really important for our students to have this outlet, to have a safe place to celebrate their launch out of our community. So please, if any parents are continuing to watch, this isn't for the senior parents, that's for the rest of us, for the parents of pre-K through 11 to step up and do a little bit of, or community members to step up and support our students. There's some great opportunities there.
All the cool parents are doing it.
I am for that.
What time would these
10.
people be expected
It's-
to show up?
It
There's-
depends.
Yeah, there's a variety of options that you can do. Where they're really looking for is kind of the overnight shift. So people who are night owls, who are up anyway, this is a great shift. There's tons of food, there's coffee, there's laughter. It's between the students and the parents that are there. But there's also a need just for people to do setup beforehand and clean up after.
Yeah.
So there are many different opportunities
I did the
depending on what
breakfast
your
one. I did
skills
breakfast
are.
one year, and I got there at 4 a.m. Served breakfast. The kids left at 5, and we cleaned up.
Yeah.
So if you're up early, it's a great thing. So yes, all sorts of time is needed. The whole thing. Upcoming meetings, we have negotiations with the North Andover teaching assistants on Wednesday. Again, you're welcome to come watch that. It's at 5 o'clock here. Our next meeting is June 4th, potentially our last meeting, depending on, there might be some financial stuff we have to do, but we're thinking it's our last meeting of the year on June 4th. There'll be teaching negotiations on June 8th, again here, and we're holding June 18th just in case. And with that,
So, sorry. So with the negotiations going on and our meetings coming to the end, and it's not doing anything over the summer, if with negotiations, we need to regroup, can we just will we do some executive sessions?
yes, so if we need to
Just some quick
discuss
okay.
anything, we can do so easily through an executive session. And we can schedule a meeting to do, if we need to do a vote to ratify anything,
Okay,
we can do
it
that.
then.
We would
Okay.
just need a quorum to do that.
Yeah, but probably the biggest, just as we're in, any of the negotiations, if we continue in the thick of it, we can just do a quick executive session.
We could do it,
Zoom and
especially if we
moving.
need to
Okay.
discuss
Are
strategy.
we
Alright,
allowed
perfect.
to have meetings by Zoom? particularly
an
executive
executive
session.
Executive session,
Yep.
yeah.
The CREST board has been meeting this way, but it's, next year, half of the time it's gonna be in person. So maybe the permission is beginning to go away.
I know we can still do executive session, I think, via Zoom or whatever. I'm not sure what the rules are currently about other meetings. We can check on what we're allowed to do. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Moskowitz? Ms. Sams?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
Yes, chair votes yes. It is 9:31. We are adjourned.